What's up, people? Hello.
Hello, squishes.
Live did work. Beautiful. Did I record time lapse? Did we get Craig in here? I did all. Did I do all the things? It's crazy that I did all the things.
All the things, doing all the things like a
used to this. I'm not
growing
used
up.
to this. Hi, everybody. I think it's actually crazy we call this arc Ragnarok because in my head, I've been calling this arc Ragnarok 1 because we know there's going to be another one at some point in the story, like it's necessary. I find it weird that that's not the convention, that apparently we just call it Ragnarok.
Which is bullshit. Let's change it.
I think Ragnarok 1 is the right name. Haberfax, thank you for subbing. Thank you for subbing, Repetator.
Whenever I see
Ragnarok 1, there's going to be a second one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know that.
It's like how I call your dad my first husband.
Yeah. How's that going?
He loves it. Famously.
Famously loves it. How do we get into this? How do we do this?
Wait. No, I got all sorts of ideas.
Mm-hmm.
First, I want to take it back. Your dad's not my first husband. I'm hoping to only have one. Because I'll just say single or hook up with a chick if he goes away.
Okay.
And number 2, we have level 1 completed.
Level 1 hype train completed. Thank you, Fair Zero, for giving us up.
As soon as I said that's level 1, it said level 1 completed. Like it was just so perfect. I don't want to brag, but I'm a god.
The arc would only work one more time, but Sun is only going to show up for Ragnarok, right? So Fuuko's going to do her thing. Ragnarok needs to start again, and they need to just stop it.
Yeah. Would it end? No, we're hoping it ends in a sun is bye-bye. But if the sun is dead, is it a thing inside the sun, or do we just not have sun now? Because I don't know if you know this, you need sun.
We do need sun.
Just the same. You know what made me happy?
Yeah?
You know that they kill the seasons and then they're like, we did it! High five! And I was like, I just don't see how that could be good.
Yeah, and you said, isn't this going to kill everybody?
Yes, and then they were like, we're going towards the sun. You can't just kill seasons without consequences. And I was like, thank you.
Sitting here saying this one should be called Ragnaron, and when they reach Endgame and kill God, it should be called Ragnaroff. I stand by that this is a series about death, and the series ends with the ultimate death being the conclusion of the story. So I kind of don't mind everybody dying, but I think it's more fair to Fuuko if before everybody dies, they get a chance to live with their own life.
Hey, Fair Zero also gave a gift. That was kind.
I mentioned that one.
Well, I'm a sleepy bean. I'm just a sleepy bean hanging out on a beach.
Hanging out downtown by yourself.
I love hanging out on the beach to do our things. Like, it's not as good sound-wise, but I really think that my chill-ass West Coast vibe really just shines through when I'm at the beach.
Okay, I can see it. Please talk about the Rip and Lotla part, or we kind of need to start talking about anything for that.
Now, first, I just want to talk to all of the people.
We can't talk
to all of the people because they're not here today because those are the One Piece people. I don't understand why everyone is not in love with this manga.
We wanted to briefly talk about, I forgot, we wanted to do a very brief conversation to make a short video to talk to our One Piece people to get them on board. And I have thought about a confrontational thumbnail caption we can put on it to get some One Piece people to click on the video. Do you want to hear me out?
All right, you know what? First of all, I have to because we're kind of in a yes and situation
here. That is what
here.
We do usually, yeah.
Yeah. And number 2, it sounds I'm peaked. I'm peaked here. Yeah.
What if the thumbnail just said "better than One Piece?" ?
Oh, I thought you didn't like clickbait. Oh yeah,
it's not clickbait if we take on that question. It's a question mark.
I can only see the top half of your face.
Oh,
thank you, Dr. Jack.
Tilted.
Yeah, it's rude when I can only see the top half of your face. You know what? I do like that. That is confrontational. It's entirely clickbait, but we'll still
It's
answer
not
it.
clickbait because it's a question that we intend to resolve in this question, in this answer.
Are you asking the question to get people to click?
Yeah, I mean, no. Clickbait is when it's not accurate. If it's accurate, that's just a good invitation. That's just a good
All right, you want to
pitch.
know what I think it is? You know what I think it is? It's not clickbait. You're chumming the water, Drawk. You're chumming the water.
Fair, chumming the water, because it's it here. You're late for peak wraps. We haven't started. Don't worry. So
we've done nothing.
Should we take on
get the show on the road?
Should we take on the thesis of is this better than One Piece? And that way, if we're being accurate and fair to what we're promising.
Oh, okay, but what chapter are we starting on so I can get to the right place? Was it 88? Where'd we stop last time is my question.
Where do we stop? Like 90-ish? 90-something? 93? 94?
No, sounds wrong. Sounds like a lie.
I don't know what to tell you, but it's true.
What, do people know it was 93? You were
94, people are saying.
95, 94. Okay. I'm going to get to the right spot, and then we can answer your chum.
I think we stopped at 92, but then we read 93 and 94 live.
Listen to me when I tell you things with my face.
Yeah.
I'm here for chumming.
Okay.
I'm chummy about chum.
Okay, so yo, YouTube. Well, no, I should say what's up. I say what's up. I don't say yo.
Oh, wait a minute. Make sure you leave a place after that for me to give all the squishies of One Piece a squish out.
Yeah. What's up, YouTube?
Hello, squishies.
Hi everybody. If you are clicking on this, you're probably wondering, whoa, is Undead Unluck better than One Piece? And we can't quite answer that yet because we're not done Undead Unluck, and neither of them are finished as a series.
Listen to me.
Yeah.
That's clickbait then. We have to chum, so we have to try.
No. I think we are going to say, what do we think is better in Undead Unluck than One Piece? What is it? Because I think there are some things that it does better.
Well, I'll tell you right now. We're getting more questions answered than asked immediately, and that's wild.
Yes.
And you know the way that you told me we were getting more questions answered in One Piece now than we were before. We are, but we're not doing them in the straight out fashion you would like.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I think is really great about Undead Unluck is you're like, I think this might happen, and then they answer that thing, and then they're like, oh, but there's more, baby.
You don't lose depth. You keep deepening the mystery while constantly giving answers. Like, it feels like the world is constantly answering itself while bringing up enough questions that you're not losing any depth of mystery. I also think, like, the power system in the series is built to explore the deep themes and philosophical thinking. If you really like the thematic writing of Egghead Island, where we get very philosophical, you will love Undead Unluck. It's so good at exploring deep, rich, interesting philosophical themes.
And that's not even to say that it doesn't have great battle work and other pieces. It's just that it never shies away from asking the big questions in an interesting way.
Absolutely.
It makes you ask and evaluate, like, how you feel about life and death, while at the same time being this, like, raucous freaking roller coaster ride.
Mm-hmm. There's something really deeply charming about that. There's also, the fights are great, but it's a lot like One Piece, where the fights aren't the best part that you're here for. But I think I still enjoy the fights more. It's so hard to explain this, but the fights aren't usually that hype. They are just rich, deeply satisfying. They are emotional experiences, right?
Yeah, also, I think that One Piece took 100 chapters for me to be like, yeah, okay, I'm seeing this. This one took 32.
Yes. By chapter 32, it was interesting and unique enough that I don't think One Piece took 100 for me. For me, it was around the 64 mark. Arlong Park starts to kick off. You get the Nami backstory. But that means literally...
I liked Arlong Park a lot, but it was when I got to chapter 100 and I was like, holy shit, I did not understand the depth of this world, that I was like a different level of hooked. My holy shit, I did not understand the depth of this world came at chapter 32.
Yeah, it was a much earlier, oh, this is what this is capable of. There's the reason it might feel hard to describe and like we're being a bit vague is there's nothing like this. I've never read something like this before. And that is in so many ways. Like in so many ways have I not read something like this. It understands the themes, and this is going to sound less hype than it should, but it understands the meaning of thematically love, kindness, and hatred better and more in a more interesting way than anything I've read. If you think that the way manga like Hunter x Hunter or Full Metal Alchemist plumb the depths of humanity with their thematics and symbolism is beautiful, you will love this series. It's incredible how it touches on these aspects.
And I just need to point out that while it's doing that, it's somehow, while body parts are being cut off, while somebody is using blood and hardening it and shooting it out as a jetpack and separating the mind, body, spirit, and all this other shit, it still manages to find itself being like a fun, I want to say the word lighthearted, which I can't believe I want to use, but semi lighthearted romp. And I'm so interested in that balance of how it's asking for those big themes of love versus hate and all these other big pieces, and all the time that you're reading it, it's still like just fun. Oh no, did you go away?
Hello, can you hear me? Testing? Yeah, okay. No, my mic broke. I just fixed it. Now I can't hear Mama. Where'd she go?
Are you there?
Okay, so you had tech issues as I had tech issues. We're both back.
Are you shooting my whole face right now?
Yeah, so I had tech issues, and just as I fixed them, you had tech issues and disappeared and had a little error symbol. We're both back. Can you repeat some of what you just said? Because I don't know
Okay,
how much
here's
my tech
here's
issues
the
fucked up what you
problem.
said. Yeah?
The things that I said were the greatest things ever said by a person.
Okay,
Like,
chat, did you hear
how
them? If you heard them, everything's fine.
No, I'm just joking. But the thing that I was talking about that blows my mind is it's having these great big philosophical questions, and there's you can plumb the depths for as long as you want, and it's an absolutely crazy philosophical piece, and yet it's just fun. It's
Mhm.
still somehow fun.
Yeah.
And that's what's amazing about it, because I'm like, yeah, I want to tell everyone to read it because it's got this great thing and this great thing, and looks at the idea of life and death and what are
Mhm.
rules, and do
Mhm.
we live, is anything really reality, and does anything matter besides you know, fornication, food, and exercise? Like, what are the things that have any meaning? And then I'm like, God, that sounds so ridiculous and so difficult and so onerous on your brain. And I'm like, no, it's fun.
It is so much fun. It's an absolute blast. I love reading this. It's incredibly well done. And it is all those things. It is deep. It is philosophical. It asks these incredible questions, but it's a blast. It's hilarious. If you read the first little bit, it's not going to feel like what it really can deliver on. There's such a deftness in its writing as it goes. It becomes something so
But you
beautiful.
need that first little bit, and not in the same way you normally need the first little bit. Not in the way where I'm like, you really need it because it's just setting the scene. No, they use all the shit from the beginning,
Yeah.
and they make the beginning more deep later on. They're like, yeah, no,
Mhm.
trust me when I tell you, we're going to come back to this time and time again, and you're going to come to value the way it began.
Mhm.
Uh-oh, it's a delete your art.
Oh,
You
it's
have
already
no
gone.
art
Don't
left.
worry. It's
So,
been destroyed.
and so that's why I was like, it's kind of incredible. And I had a couple of chapters even this time that I was like, those were okay. Those are a couple of mid chapters. And then I would start to think about them while laying down. And I'd be like, well, actually, that did this, this, and this.
Mhm.
And it wouldn't have mattered anyways, because as soon as I moved forward, I was like, what? What the shit is happening?
I think, is this series better than One Piece is at this point unanswerable, but the fact that it's a question worth asking, that I think when both are done, I'm going to ask myself that, is immediately impressive. And frankly, it doesn't matter if at the end of the day I end up being like, no, One Piece is better. The fact that I want to consider that question when One Piece is my favorite story I've ever lived with, that's incredible to me. I love what we've read. This is so unique. You were going to, while reading this, feel feelings that you haven't felt from these sources before. Fights are going to make you feel ways that a fight shouldn't. Dramatic backstories are going to make you feel a way that you'd never expect. The way you're going to feel about this cast of characters isn't what you'd expect to feel. It's unexpected at every turn, and it hits so deeply while doing so. Oda is a master storyteller at what he does, but you often will hate bad guys or find them fun, but be like, oh, it's fun to hate him. He's enjoyable. Imagine coming to deeply love the villain of most arcs. That's something special and unique, and it
But
can
imagine
happen.
having to love the villain and then loving the villain.
Yes, it's fantastic.
Also, I might not have dethroned it up until the arc that we just finished.
Yeah.
And when we just finished that arc, I was like, holy shit.
This is the first time that I surpassed the question, where I started to be like, will this be better than One Piece?
And I haven't read enough manga to know, like, somebody asked me a little while ago whether or not there was I think that I just got into it earlier because I'm a better manga reader now. And I don't think so, because even if it's not manga, I've always read comics, and I've always read a variety of different things. And usually I'm kind of, and I talked about this before, I'm a bitter pumpkin. Every time I read a new anything, I'm like, ugh, I don't want to read this. I want this to be my last book. I want those characters back. And it usually takes me a little while to get into anything. So I expect that. But this one I got in so much quicker because they do things. Oh, I know the word I'm going to use. Unexpectedly. They do things in a way that when you get to them, you are like, oh, it's going to happen this way. And I love guessing and making predictions. And yet, even when I'm right, it's different than I could have predicted it.
Yes. Every turn, it is unpredictable. It's something that you don't expect to have happened. It's brilliantly written. I cannot recommend this enough. I've read quite a few manga. I'm not like I read everything, but I've read like a good number of manga, and this to me is up there as one of the best. I have qualms, but I have qualms with everything I consume, and I think for its uniqueness alone, for its freshness, for the fact that the writer seems to have such a deep understanding of the themes they want to approach and approaches them so richly and so completely and in such a unique light. That's incredible. So if you've been on the fence about it, if you don't want to, haven't thought you want to join our book club, you're not sure you want to get into a new manga, if you like One Piece, do. And for no other reason than it deserves it because it's been shafted. From what I understand, Disney bought the dubbing rights and has done almost nothing to advertise it, and it's kind of flopped.
It's such bullshit.
The dub has been unsuccessful in a way that it doesn't deserve. So help this incredible series survive. Help it thrive in the way that it deserves to, despite being ignored by a corporation that has done nothing to service it.
Absolutely 100% pissed at Disney. I'm pissed at them every once in a while for different things, but I am
killing
so
that guy.
pissed at
Or
Disney
lady.
for letting this series down. It has done it a massive disservice. This
Mhm.
is such excellent writing. It is one of the coolest plots. The world setup is ridiculous. I'm already going to use its world setup in some of my English classes to talk about world building. Like
Mhm.
it is so well done, and Disney has just, you know what, Disney? This is right at you. At Disney, you've shit the bed here. You've really shit the bed. You have a prize on your hand. You have a diamond that's not even in the rough, and you have just let people down. And I really hope that people pick this up on their own, that they find a way to come to us, because it feels like this is not getting the love that it deserves. And when we said we were doing this, some people were like, "Oh, or your numbers are going to go down," and blah blah blah. And I was like, "I don't care. That's not what this is about. We're doing what interests us."
Mhm.
And then a whole bunch of people were like, "Oh, I'm out. I'm not interested." And I was like, "Okay, well, maybe it's not that good." And then we got into it, and I was like, how is everyone not talking about this? If you're a One Piece fan, and I've read all the way through One Piece, if you're a One Piece fan and you're not liking this, it makes no sense. They both
None.
give you that same feeling. How could you not be into this?
Uh, so yeah, if any of what we've sound sounds appealing, you're going to love this series. It's so incredible. I am
Yeah.
so okay with a YouTube series having less views. That's not what I'm in this for. I'm in this to have fun. I've said that before. I wouldn't
You
be
said you would
making
run you said you would run over anyone that got in the way of fun, I believe is what you
yeah,
said.
something like that. I wouldn't be making a video to convince people to read Undead Unluck to get people in our book club. I want you to join. I
Oh,
want you to have
shit
fun. I
no.
want these streams to be busy, to be having a party every time. I am making a video like this because you'll love it. Because this series deserves the love you will have for it.
I just
And
want to put out there, nice try. We are making a video. I'm a
we are
person,
making a
Drawk.
video. So I'm sorry. Okay.
I'm a person.
It was my idea though.
I'm gonna seriously bite your ear off.
All right.
I made your ear, I'll bite it off.
So I think that's all. Is it better than One Piece? We can't say yet, but the question is worth asking, and that says so much.
Yeah. That's a massive, massive for me. I was like, this is such a good thing. It's gonna be really hard for me to read anything else. Everyone tells me that I started with peak. Once you start with peak, how are you gonna go running off and enjoying other things? And when we got to chapter I think it was at the end of the last chapter when we were in like the 80s, I was like, what?
Mm-hmm.
What the hell are we reading? This is wild.
Yeah.
I'm going to take out Mama Drawk's reading glasses. I'm not going to lie. I look ridiculously adorable in them. I can't even handle the adorability. But more importantly, I can see the screen. Oh my God, look at all the kids. I see them. It was Odd User who asked the question about if I'm better at reading manga now. I think there is something to that, though, because
Yeah.
just like anything else, any other genre, um, when you get into a genre, you know things that change it. So, like, am I better? Yeah. Am I that better? No, because I've read one full manga, and then I'm on chapter 100 something of this one.
I'll also be honest. One Piece is a difficult manga to start with for teaching you because Oda is good at paneling insofar as fitting a lot of information in a story without it being unreadable. But readability is not his primary focus. He's not the most legible of authors. He doesn't go out of his way to hold your hand and make it an easy experience.
Especially in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, when he was doing his panels, like his fights weren't as readable, and they didn't come off.
Because his storytelling was simpler, and people will harken back to the old One Piece like, oh, this was better because it was simpler. But yet he wasn't nearly as good at choreography through manga paneling.
Yeah. It was making me think of the line that do you remember 8 Mile the movie?
Yeah, the one with Mr. M&M's.
Yeah, the one with Mr. M&M's.
Marshall. It was about Mr. Marshall, right?
Yes, thank you. It really was about Mr. You're good at this. So far, you're killing it. Well, when Roach was was battling Papa Doc, and when he does his vomit on the sweater thing, there's a line that he does from there that if you weren't into rap, you wouldn't know, by Mobb Deep. Mobb Deep came out with a line in 1995, and it's because there ain't no such thing as halfway crooks. And it's from the song Shook Ones. And when he says that, everyone is like, oh, and I was like, oh my God. And that's because that line is really, really important in rap. And it's like a really well-known thing. And it talks about being committed to the gangster lifestyle, and there's no middle ground. You're either in or you're out. And you wouldn't know that unless you were actually into the rap world. And I feel like that's going to happen to me more and more and more as I get into manga. I'm going to have those moments where I see something and I'm like, oh my God, they're referencing, and it's going to mean something to me.
There's not
as I go through,
but I think you'll start to notice shared illusion for sure. The big one is just knowing what tropes to look out for as tropes, so you don't read too much into them because they're just kind of assumed parts of the genre.
Yes, but I also think you lose something in that. Like I couldn't make any predictions in the same way, although I have a ton of predictions about how Usopp is going to fight a bunch of giants. It's going to change his status, and some stuff that's going to come out that I want to talk about with One Piece the next time we're talking. I'm going to go back now and read all of Egghead Island so I can make my proper predictions the way I like to do it, because it has to be done in a certain way. Where you're looking at the whole thing. But one of the things that I was noticing is that when you're new to a genre, you might pick out things that other people don't pick out because you're not reading it as somebody who knows any of the illusions or any of the things that people do. So they are fresh. So when somebody hides something inside of an illusion that everyone is regularly used to seeing, and I'm not used to seeing, I might pick up on it. And I look forward to seeing when that goes away from me.
Should we get into it?
We are into it, I think, this time. If you want the God's honest truth, I think we just did it in a different way.
So this arc starts with a stabbing.
Okay, then.
Yeah.
Somebody called me an old timer. Yeah. I was born in the 1900s.
We should say bye to YouTube. Everybody, read Undead Unluck. You'll love it. I promise. It's like.
Wait a minute. If we're saying goodbye to YouTube, then don't we have to do a sign off, a proper sign off?
I was doing a thing to lead up to the sign off. You interrupted it.
No, I didn't like it.
Well, I was gonna say.
Hey, Roxanne.
Jesus fucking you didn't lead up to the sign off.
Okay. Thank you for just putting it out there for me. Hey there, YouTube people. If you bit on the chumming that we did in the waters and came on in for a minute, I really hope that you read Undead Unluck. You will not be disappointed. And if you are disappointed, you can have the fun thing of coming in and telling me how wrong I am. I'm not. I'm right. And how wrong Drawk is. He's not. He's right. And then you can also give a big middle finger to Disney and allow an author who deserves to have the exposure that they have worked hard for, who is also a massive fan of Oda and does tons of One Piece coding within this piece, but somehow manages to make something that is both poignant and fun. Come along for the ride. It is undeniably underrated.
All right, YouTube.
Your turn.
Please come along. Give it a chance. It takes a bit. This is like One Piece for me. I had to give it a bit of time, and when I did, I was not disappointed. I'm having my mind blown week after week. I'm gonna be honest. I was reading Kaiju number 8, and I have stopped reading it because I'm enjoying the series so much more than Kaiju number 8. It rocks. This is so good. Please come and join. Please enjoy Undead Unluck, and please stick it to Disney. And
if it's canceled, I'm gonna be crushed. I'm like, so bad. This is one of those first times that I'm on the canceling side of something that I'm like, no! Oh my God, no!
Kaiju number 8's fine. Undead Unluck's better. And until next time,
squish on, squishies.
It's been lovely talking to you. All right, but not by the Twitch chat. We got to talk about this arc, this fucking incredible arc. Ragnarok 1.
Ragnarok 1. What are you doing today for fun? Ragnarok, Ragnarok, Ragnarok 1. All right, here we go. I wrote that song.
Oh yeah, shooting star for Andy's card being an artifact. No, that's just a regular gold star. Shooting star's got to be like hundreds of chapters in advance. But yeah, gold star for sure.
What's the star for?
Andy's card being an artifact.
Oh yeah! Oh my god! Woo-woo!
I'm also gonna say, can we? The silver star wasn't ready in time for the last video, but I'll talk to the animator and see if they can get it done because I think it's. No, it can't be a silver star. It'd be like a half a gold star for you said it's a game, and it's technically a game, but not in the way you meant. So how about a half gold star for it's a game?
How about I still think it's going to go deeper than that?
I think it can, but this is like a preemptive, it's already worth half a star.
All right, I'll give you that. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. I just thought it was damaging his brain too because of the bullet, because the bullet worked, but I guess it was just enough of it.
I was certain it was going to be something that was bigger and that therefore it had to be an artifact, because what else is going to split two people in half and make two separate humans out of one human?
Yeah, you got it. You nailed it.
I don't know if you've heard this. Predicting is kind of my thing.
It is. You're good at it.
Until I'm not, but that's how that goes.
I still stand by. I think sun is an embodiment. We'll talk about this later. We'll talk about this part later of my theory, but I think we start with that. We get into the story. Fuuko gets stabbed. Ruin shows up, and this is the first time it feels like, and I know you say it happens later this arc, but I think this is the first time for me that we are introduced to a character who at no point are we then made to come to love. And maybe it's because this isn't someone for Fuuko to deal with.
Or it's because Fuuko hasn't had to deal with them yet, because you don't put Fuuko back in the path of the person who tried to kill her.
Yes. But it is interesting, isn't it, that this is the first character who's just fucking hateable. Like, just
it's beyond interesting. I'm what we in the game call a non-fan.
Unruin is a bastard, and his motivation is God sure is cool. He's a lot like an evangelical in that he's on team the world burns.
Did you just say he's an evangelical?
Hey, did you know that there's a growing movement of evangelical Christians who believe in climate change and want to accelerate it because they believe it's the rapture? That's real. There's people on team climate change. I'm not joking with you people. That's a real thing that exists.
Humber Toeth just said God's groupie, if you may.
Yeah, they're literally on team climate change. It's a major movement in the US, and there's more of them than you think there is. It comes up.
Can I just say that something that was a little surprising? That's a little surprising. There's two gods.
Yeah,
they keep referring to one god the whole time.
Something, but I didn't. I thought Luna was like a herald of God, not a god.
They refer to God's game, God's this, and we think they're talking about a singular god, but they've always used a plural. But that's how we talk about gods. Like, we talk about it as possessive, so they can get away with sticking an S on in that way.
They have, it's interesting. They have talked about God a lot, like God, an entity. But I guess what they've meant by God this whole time is effectively Sun, because Sun is the one creating punishments. And it suddenly makes sense that we have weapons created by God to kill God. That Luna has been making the gods. We gotta get into it. We gotta just go bit. Do we go bit by bit or do we bounce around? This arc is.
Listen, we do what we do. I know this. You're not used to this because I'm always leading the charge and I go wild. But here's how we do it. We just talk.
We just talk. All right, let's just talk.
When they were all hanging out with Fuuko's body on the ground, I was like, on one hand, I'm not all that worried about it because I was like, well, we're gonna have to see Fuuko again. Mm-hmm. But then I was like, oh shit, what if we see Fuuko and she stays a ghost? Like, that's a different way of doing a tale, and I'm not sure I'm here for it.
Yeah, and it feels like the type of person who could.
I did want a rebirth. What did I say about a rebirth?
Something. I feel like we definitely both get a gold star. It's an obvious one, but it is a gold star to just say that we would get a loop and Fuuko would come back. I think I get a silver star though, because I mentioned as part of that when you were like, but we can't lose all of these characters we've come to love. I think I get a silver star for saying, and not as a prediction, but casually, there's going to be a method for sure to get their memories back. Because as a writer, you don't lose all that. You don't give up all this character development.
I agree.
That is the thing I said.
We knew it had to go all over again, but I said to you before, the only part that's making me not think we're gonna go all over again, and yeah, Rafe has said it, is the idea of Chekhov's gun. You can't be like, oh, we're one from Ragnarok, and then be like, but we're never gonna do that.
Yeah,
and then they do. So we predicted that accurately.
mm-hmm.
But then I was like, but then you have to start all this shit again.
Yeah.
And then you casually had said, yeah, there needs to be a way for us to have all their memories there, because otherwise what a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it just feels like kind of a waste.
I want you to know that you should remind me in 15 minutes to get a new bubbly and licorice.
Ooh, you got some licorice all sorts?
No, just licorice.
Just some licorice, okay.
Yeah, like some red and some black licorice. Like a normal person.
I love a licorice all sort, man.
Oh, I'm still convinced that Fuuko's unnamed artifact gun is called Chekhov's gun. Okay, if it is,
that'd be so fucking funny.
High five all over the place.
Yeah, that'd be so goddamn funny.
No, I think one of the coolest things about this arc, and I think we should start with the thing that you said to get into everything.
Yes.
Is when you said to me in a text that I didn't see until this morning that this has almost the same quality as Eden.
Yeah.
Get into that.
So I started to have an observation that I think a lot of this series is about the biblical lore of the Garden of Eden. And my thinking on that comes from a couple places. Number one, this is very, very important. Andy sounds a little like Adam. That's incredibly important detail that we need to acknowledge. That sounds a little bit like Adam. My real thinking, the thing that made me start to think about this is when I was thinking about Uma, there's supposed to be rules. Clothing is not a rule normally, but one of the biggest ways that we talk about the Garden of Eden was the idea that modesty was not a necessary concept before the introduction of sex and cities and people, like people beyond a couple of people. And I started to then think about the idea of these scenes, these flashbacks of Juiz and Victor meeting each other as a lone man and woman in an empty world without rules. Naked people in the garden of the Jurassic period at first. So I started to think about how much this feels like the Garden of Eden. Why else would we have Uma clothing? That's not a rule, that's a technology, unless the perfect state of the world was about the perfect state of the world was Eden. And it also got me thinking about the idea of Luna as Satan is kind of a thing I've come around to. Now, at first I was wondering if the snake and Satan were Andy. And I think there's a chance of there being something to that, because I think if the state of the world before the Uma was Eden, one of the first things you would add to punish humanity for leaving the garden, for wanting more than the garden, would be death. It would be dead. Dead would be one of the first Uma, which would create undead. Because we see when Seal is talking about how to deal with undead in the past, you trap them, and we see the snake being covered by the rock, which kind of suggests Andy being in a Satan-like role. But if you look at the writing of the Romantics, such as Milton, with the concept of Paradise Lost or the songs of experience versus the songs of innocence, you see this idea of God as a paternalistic and punishing figure who believes he should get to make the rules for humanity, and Satan as a dangerous figure with belief in humanity that thinks humanity should have access to knowledge, pain, and pleasure, and live a rich, fulfilling life of autonomy. And when I think about that, it kind of makes sense that Luna would be a Satan figure who wants to give humans weapons of great power and have the ability to fight against God and choose their own path, vouching for the autonomy of human beings. And it would make Sun a god figure, wanting to punish humanity and create embodiments of the pain and suffering they have asked for by asking for autonomy, for the right to choose their own path. And more this arc, we see people talking about the right to choose and fighting God and the choice to fight God. And the more this idea of choice comes up, the more it does feel like kind of an Eden parallel.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I was also thinking about, sorry, I'm trying to look something up at the same time and eat licorice because I went way above the 15 minutes.
Hey guys, is the Nyoibo red? Yeah, and those flashbacks were from before the addition of the rule sex. Exactly. So sex, whether it's biological, gender, sexual reproduction, or both not existing yet, really tie in with Eden as well as a concept, in my opinion.
So something else that I decided is I kind of see, like, when we're talking about the Garden of Eden, I saw kind of a mixed metaphor.
Okay.
So I saw both a Garden of Eden and kind of like this idea of God isn't always the one who's good, because why would a good God want to keep knowledge out of the hands of humans? Like, you think that knowledge would be another thing in order to grow and become amazing. And so I also thought that there was this idea, this Prometheus type thing going on with Andy, that Andy has to die over and over and over again. And in some way, Andy, being the thing that is undead, kind of feels sorry for humans who have to die, but also longs for the ability to follow humans and be allowed to die. And so he has stolen something from God to try to help humans get to finally beat the games of gods. And as a punishment for stealing, he has to die over and over and over again. There's also this idea for me with it, because the Aegis, the shield, comes from the idea of Zeus skinning the goat that raised him, and then they use the goat hide to create a shield named Aegis.
Okay.
And so in some ways, I started to think of Andy in that Prometheus way, because I was like, it kind of goes with that amazing idea of Andy being death, but also being the thing that helps humans from Zeus, who is trying to take over. So it felt like both an Eden feeling and a Zeusy feeling.
And I think this is part of why when people are saying,
wait a minute, raised, it is both that and the Medusa shield. It has a bunch of different things attached with it.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Part of what someone is saying that they don't, that while the theorizing can be fun, they don't need an answer for what Sol and Luna are, Sun and Luna. And I agree. It's also why I'm not making a theory based on the Garden of Eden, just an observation that I think this is an intentional theme, that I think this is meant to be perceived this way. This is like the idea of of the world without rules, the Garden of Eden, is meant to be thought of. I don't necessarily think there's any theorizing to come from it. Like, maybe later on it'll be confirmed that, oh yeah, this was meant to be Eden. But I think it could just be an inspiration for the imagery or the concepts behind it just as well. I don't think it's necessary that those themes are pulled on for where the story goes.
I also think there has to be something with, I know that Sun is soul, but there's going to be a thing with soul and soul.
Okay.
Because I think that when we talk about something being soul bound, like, I'm just thinking about Andy's tattoos and the specific number and the undead thing on his arm, that it feels like that is, and I said it before, soul attached. And so it keeps coming back despite the fact that his body can be burned or blown and it's there again. And so I think there's eventually going to be a play on words with the idea soul, S-O-L, and soul, S-L-U-L.
Maybe.
And I think
it feels like it's very English dependent, but we'll see.
I don't know. I think the person who wrote this, I don't know, I just feel like they have a grasp.
They speak English, I'm pretty sure, yes.
But also soul is Latin.
Okay.
Which makes more sense because we all, like, if we're looking at Western culture and history and stuff, all different sorts of groups will look at like Latin meaning of things, Latin naming and Latin ideas and mythology. And I think that he's taken a bunch of mythology from, I've seen the Greeks and I've seen the Romans and I've seen Christianity. Oh, you have to add a straw hat. That'll be fun inside of Soul.
Easy peasy.
So I think it's something that we're going to see. Also, he chose to make everything English.
Yeah.
That was my tip off on that, because he chose to make it a world in which everybody, when they lost their languages, and it was like it moved from being like a Babylon type thing into everybody speaking the same language, except for the people that you could now call out. He chose English, which makes you think he has a greater mastery of the language.
I think he definitely does speak English, like making that choice says it. It's just about like, do you make a homonym in English be relevant in a Japanese art form for a Japanese audience mostly? That's sort of
I think you do it. Hides it better.
Maybe. Oh man.
Now you have to add a pun. Sorry, I almost said it right. Did you hear how close that was? Oh.
Look, I got a lot of splashies to play with, so it's not that hard.
Yeah, you're going to have to add a Pondemon too, don't forget.
Look him up, because I don't remember what he looks like exactly.
I wonder which one of us has the most points.
The most points?
I have 50.8 thousand points. I had so many.
I don't get points anymore because I'm looking through. I'm not watching my stream. I'm looking at my stream through Stream Manager. So you definitely have more points.
Okay, now you have to add another Bellamy and another Straw Hat.
Don't worry, we're getting to it. We're getting to them.
No, but do they show up for you? Because there's so many now.
Yeah.
It's 2 Straw Hats, a Pondemon, and a Bellamy. If you're a streamer, you get infinite. Infinite. I could not say the word infinite, apparently. I'm so happy I chose to get my licorice early.
All right, should we keep going?
Yeah, 100%. I loved your thinking around Eden. I love it connecting with a few different mythologies in that way. I think that it's going to make this so much fun to watch, because I think Andy is going to become so much more important in the story.
Mm-hmm. Well,
because why does he have to continue to exist?
Mm-hmm.
Even when there's no rules, no rules put on nothing, Andy is still forced to exist in the same way and ride out the ages.
Maybe it's because Dead needs to exist.
Well, I think if you're going to have life and you're going to argue that life needs to have value, then you're always going to need to have death.
Mm-hmm. But also, you can't, like, he is the most, his Uma, the Uma that he's the negator of, I guess you don't always need an Uma and a, we haven't had that confirmed that you need an Uma for every negator and vice versa, but it can't have unspring. But we did have burn and unburn both introduced. But I think, like, Dead is something so incredibly necessary. Like, Dead as a concept is so needed for punishing people fleeing paradise, for punishing autonomy. Like, it is the basis. The idea of the Garden of Eden is eternal paradise, right? So to punish humanity for not having that, you need Dead. So maybe that's what it is, that you need someone to be undead. I don't.
Well, Dead would always have to exist, because if Dead didn't exist, then the game wouldn't exist in this universe.
True. Yeah, the game to challenge humanity and try to kill them can't work if you can't kill people.
Exactly. I paused Twitch for a minute by accident and didn't realize. And then I came back and everything was red. And I was like, whoa! Well, it was a big change.
Yeah. I'm trying to make it feel very hot.
Yeah, well, red will do that.
It's like a scarf.
I mean, even if blue is hotter. Okay. Dude made me. I really don't like. Okay, this is obvious. I really don't like Unruin at all. Unruin is a piece of baggagey crap. But does he have the same bags under his eyes? That's not makeup. Is that the same bags under his eyes that what's her face had, who was unsleep or unrest?
That backstory for Unsleep was very cute. The romance there was sad and adorable, and I liked that a lot.
I really did too. It was amazing. What, Lulu? You mentioned wanting to reread the last chapter of the section on stream. Well, did we?
Maybe. Oh yeah, that was the thing we were going to do, was to reread the last chapter on stream so that we could have it fresh in our minds. That was an agreement. That was a decision we came to. Let's do that as we get a bit further. Like, I want to get a bit further and start talking about that ending before we do, because this ending changes the rest of what we read here a lot.
The game. Like, there was a place I think we probably should have stopped that was a lot earlier than this. But it wouldn't have been as cool. I was happy
I'm happy with where we ended. I think this is the right place.
Oh no, I was grateful, but don't get me wrong. If we were trying to like build tension and take a little more time, there was a place to stop earlier.
True.
Because it became a completely different story. Yeah. I fell.
You fell?
Okay. Don't worry about it. It's good.
We're doing Billy's whatever, but I think it gives us a new perspective. But I want to get to the point that we're talking about the ending, because the ending it really alters the rest of this. So for rereading it, I just want to wait a little bit.
I also love the new rules get added on January 1st. That's a week away. There's no way that Fuuko's body will last. Well, we're going to have to just skip time them.
Mm-hmm.
And how did we not know that there was going to be something coming up? Because then Juice screams up, Luna, let's make a deal. I'll transfer all my points over to these. In exchange, send them both a week ahead to the day of the quest results. Oh, that's a F up then.
What do you mean?
Well, if Juice moves all her points to those two, then later
they had to immediately spend it.
But then
they had to spend it to ride the arc to a week in the future.
And whose points moved him into the future?
It was Juice's points that she spent.
No. I'm sorry. I mean, later on, Andy would have had to immediately have spent his too.
No, because
Andy
didn't. I think it was just costing Juice's points to ride at that time, and it was Andy's points that he'd gained from previous runs from all the.
Because she says, "I will transfer all my points over to these two."
It was Victor who transformed to spend points. Remember, Victor.
I agree. But wouldn't she had so many damn points? It was absolutely ridiculous. And if she had transferred all of her points,
I can explain it all, but you need to let me go.
I'm not done.
No, but I know what you're saying, and I can explain it.
No, I'm talking about a different thing. If she had transferred all of her points, she couldn't have rode on the arc later on.
Yeah, she'd given up at that point already.
I don't think she'd already given up though.
They'd already talked to her about it. She had already committed to it being Fuuko.
I don't. She had kind of half committed, and we didn't know. But she obviously full committed because there we go.
Yeah.
But I honestly am saying, if she gave them all of her points, I do think that she would have had enough points left over.
Well, no, she wouldn't, because she has to spend all of her points every cycle.
No, I meant to move them forward.
Yeah, what are you saying?
Pause, let me think.
Yeah.
Why does Victor have so many points?
Because he never has to spend them, because he survives anyways. So he accumulates points from killing Uma over and over and over again, and literally never has to spend them.
And then I just think that it's my problem with it is that we don't have any kind of accurate reading on how many points a person needs to ride the arc, how many
Yeah.
points it would do to move that far ahead, etc. I think that's where my unlike of that is.
Where I'm at is we know that Juice makes sure to get enough points to ride the arc every time because she has to, and we know Victor never has to, so Victor just got to accumulate points and never really worry about it. That's why it makes sense for me. So Juice only had enough to ride it once because it only saves up enough for one ride because that's all that's needed.
Agreed. But we never know. Like, it doesn't just say, like, when Victor transfers his points over to Fuuko, we don't know how many points it takes to ride, do we?
Oh, the people are saying the implication is the one with the most points gets to ride it. Interesting. I could see.
See, and that's my question.
Okay, so it takes all your points, and you have to have the most of them.
Okay, well, that changes everything. That, I think, yeah. Fascinating.
It's so squeaky. I got to get it up again.
What happens then if because in all of the times that they've gone through this, she must have had a time when somebody else had more points. What does she do? Force them to transfer points?
Kill them.
Like,
if they see you as having truly defeated them, you get their points.
Exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So there's no way that in the past that Juice didn't have to kill one of her allies, one of her friends, in order to get enough points to ride in that chair.
I fully agree. Although Raventh is pointing out she does pick who goes on quests, so she might have just been able to measure out how many points people were getting them and make sure no one ever had more than her.
I don't know. I don't think that's so. Because when you're in a battle, lots of times when they're out in battles, they call in for reinforcements, or things don't go the way that they needed them to go. Repeat what, Dr. Jeff?
She probably has had to kill an ally to go, but I think most of the time she's probably able to manage where she sends
I think
people.
so. I think that if you're going to be in her position, there is no way that you don't have to kill a friend at some point. And now that they can't do the ride again, which is good, because that would be very, very hard on Fuuko.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that people are saying that they're not of much of importance, but I disagree. You don't put something like a point system in, call up to the moon and say, I will transfer all of my points, or say you don't have enough points, or let Victor talk through Andy and have two people at once if points aren't that important later on at some point.
I think that we're going to see the points be relevant again, because you can still ride the arc to skip time for other reasons, even if you aren't able to avoid Ragnarok again.
I also think that the points are going to become important because I think there's more to the game. And so I think because there's more to the game, I think there's going to be more relevance for points.
Okay.
Yeah.
Riding the arc does not spend points. You simply need to be in the first seat. Okay. So it doesn't cost them. You just need to be the person with the most. Okay.
I love this story so much.
It's a really good story.
I love that there's little things that you can get stuck into that way. All right, I'm moving.
All right.
Moving forward, staring at an earth. And then we don't realize somehow when the moon is talking, again, I was like, I don't know how I noticed this.
Yep.
The moon's having tea and says, graces of the moon be upon thee. And then moves them forward that the moon would obviously be a god. Like, I was come on.
I felt like it was a herald of the god. Like, I felt at that point like Sun is god, or at least the final Uma, one of the two. And I felt like Luna was meant to be the herald of that god. Like, it's announcer, it's servant.
Yeah, I was pissy with myself for not picking up on that. And I was like, oh, damn, lady, it's right there. She's having tea with a god. Like, she brings Luna down. The blessings of the moon be upon you. But okay, whatever. I also like it because it feels like, even though the sun is supposed to be this big, bright ass thing, somehow the sun in this one is a dark black magma blob that comes out. And so when you're talking about the balance of yin and yang, the sun is the dark half.
There's something so interesting about the fact that the sun is drawn completely black, and I think it's partially because you can make whites look brighter if there's a lot of black on a page. It's a weird trick when you're doing inking. But then Luna being drawn in pure white and the sun being drawn in pure black is a very interesting subversion of your expectations there.
And a definite intentional choice. And I was like so here for that, because normally when we're looking at something, the sun is always the bright side and would be the light side of the yin and the yang. And instead, this time it really felt like the moon is the light side of the yin and the yang of the balance of this piece. And I was like, yes, that's a cool choice. I think that I became even more, every single chapter I read of this, I become even more interested when they do things like this, when they have ghosts suddenly come out, like the addition of Uma Ghost. And I'm like, why does Uma Ghost matter? And then all of a sudden, the souls come out as ghosts, and we have a changing of what souls are. They're no longer an ephemeral thing that we can't see or that doesn't exist in some real way. They become this actual thing. And I was like, yes, the story does things in a way that every time it does them, I'm so proud of it.
It's so cool, and the idea that, of course, Juice knows what the Zuma does because has done the loop so many times and is just aware that this is a way we can buy extra time. Yeah, Ghost was so freaky. The powers were so cool. The chase this kicks off with Andy having to go hunt down Unruin.
Yeah, but you're right. The fact that we see that Juice actually knows already what the next thing is going to be, they've talked about it, and she knows what that will look like and why they can use that to their advantage. That really creates depth and layering within the story in a really cooler way, because we can see in those moments the way that her multiple rides through this scenario have just she's just become such a library of information. And so it gives the story so much more depth. Like, they do such a good job of using their own setting to create a really cool depth within the story. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're like, I'm creating these setting rules, which is going to allow us to explore all these things, but I'm going to understand my own setting so well that I'm going to be able to make you feel like you have been a part of this story forever and you are also on the loop.
It's so interesting. People keep bringing up the Rip fight. They really want us to talk about it, and it is a fight that gave me a lot of value. Do you want to get there? Is there something?
Where are we in that? Are we close to the Rip fight in our piece?
Yeah, now? I mean, I guess before the Rip fight, we need to meet Lucy and have Andy's voyage with Lucy and meet Seal.
Yeah, I'm going to have to ask us to do that first. I refuse to go past that.
Yeah, I agree. So
let's go through it. Boom, boom, boom. Because Seal sucks. Do you remember? Oh, and do you remember how we talked about this yesterday? Or I don't know. I don't know if we texted or talked it, but regardless, how I kept saying, like, this thing is trying to make us both right on all the time. I can completely understand why you and I are on two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
And one of us believes that this is going to be manga/book, and one of us believes that it's a video game, because they keep making books so powerful, important in this. That one of the main things is that stupid book, who's screwing around with us as an Uma. Ragnarok. And then we have Lucy and her connection to her book, and her book is the thing that gives her the most joy and taught her how to use her soul. And she already suspected, because Peter Pan existed, that there was the ability to use your soul. Pet the boy. And then we have the manga that they're using that's written about this. Oh yeah, Apocalypse is an artifact. But still a book. And then we had another book earlier on. And so it keeps making the books have this massive importance. And then and then it keeps doing video game things, calling people NPCs, having point systems, talking about winning and losing a game. So it feels like it is so on both sides of this coin that's why we keep going back and forth on it all the time. We both have real reasons to believe in it.
There's so many thematics around books and characters and story, but there is a lot more terminology that feels game-based, and it's really interesting.
So it feels like the terminology and the rules and those pieces are kind of the sun, and they are game-based, and it feels like the book and the ephemeral feelings and the attaching book to spirit are moon, and they are more manga-ish. Does that make sense in a way?
Kind of.
Yeah, and I don't know how I mean that yet.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what we can get for that in the future.
Yeah. So I like that we get frickin' Ghostface comes out, and then stupid boy whom I hate is like, oh, I just happened to kill all these people for you so you can play with all of their ghostersons. Which immediately made him be this whole entire different thing to me of hatred. But what was as long as I don't forget, then people won't die.
Mm-hmm.
And souls are what give people life. And that's the kind of world I want to believe in. I touched you, didn't I, Fuuko? So you're still alive. Your soul is still alive. That was such an incredible moment. Then this is exactly what I mean, that the author does a stunning job of taking the things that they say and they have put into the story, and then it uses its own their own creation to add depth to the piece. They bring back things that we didn't read that long ago, but by bringing them back, they're making us feel like there is even more depth to the characters, and they're tugging on the emotions that we know that the characters have with each other and the packs and their understanding of the world, and that's brilliant.
This goes back a second. I have to step back on something you just said because I had a realization. Moon creates artifacts and Sun creates umas and rules.
Yes.
Which means also creates negators. You can see what you're talking about with one being the game and one being story themed really clearly when Akira is given the pen by Moon, and as a punishment, Sun intervenes and creates the unseen negator, which that is story and book being created by Moon and game being enforced by Sun as their give and take.
That is the exact thing I'm talking about. Thank you. Because I kept being like, no, there's even more to that. It feels like Sun is game and Moon is book. And that's exactly why that's in the back there. Well done. Nice catch.
All right.
And so that's something that I think that I want to keep an eye on throughout it, because I kept feeling like there was something I wasn't picking up on. And that's precisely it. I feel like the Moon is in charge of kind of that side of things, and it's a manga, a book type feeling, and the Sun is gamified.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's so good. I'm so and I was really relieved, and I'll say it again. As soon as they started to move towards the Sun, I was like, good. That should happen, because you killed all the seasons, and it's ridiculous that you just keep moving along without the seasons existing and thinking that that's not going to have an impact on everything.
The fact that it was a no-win situation, though, that like once you're at 99, everything's over no matter what, is fucked, but it makes sense.
And then you're like, so how much earlier do you have to catch it? And the question is moot, because you have to go to Ragnarok, because somebody like Fuuko has to be there to beat them.
Can I say something that I think is going to be really interesting for this new loop that we're on?
Yeah.
We see that our girl Juice has seen Ghost before, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Say it again. No, wait, say that again. Sorry, I was reading Roxanne's
Juice has seen Ghost before. This isn't Juice's first interaction with Ghost as a rule.
Yes.
But we are told by Apocalypse no one's beaten Summer. Do you know what that means?
What?
The order the rules are unlocked changes each time. Meaning, we're about to enter an entirely different world than the one we've known, because what rules exist aren't going to be the same.
Ugh. Does Fuuko's memory of the stars somewhere come up? Are we just assuming that the story is saying that she had memories of the stars just tucked inside of her? Or are we going to find out that there's something else going on, that Luck has got some deeper connection because she drew the stars before they existed and said they just felt like they needed to be there because it felt lonely. The moon felt
lonely.
lonely.
So both of us did that at the same time, right?
Yes. Shit, yes.
This means something, and it sucks that I don't feel like we know what it means.
Oh my god, the moon felt lonely. Shit.
Oh, fucking hell. Fucking shit. What is this?
Okay.
This is something.
The moon feels lonely. So there is something in there about the moon being separated from a sun, the sun giving no attention to the moon only being able to get light off of the sun.
Fuuko didn't know she was painting stars, but she did paint stars. Is there something in She Touched Memory, the card Memory, and holy fuck, dude. You want to talk about video game shit? Memory is a card.
Yes. I actually thought that one last night and forgot it while I was laying in bed. A memory card.
Yeah. I played PS2 games. I remember this era.
Memory card.
Oh man, the moon was lonely. Fucking hell.
The moon felt lonely. There's something so big in there.
She was so excited. Moon was so excited to see Fuuko. Did Moon make Fuuko instead of Sun? Why is Fuuko special? Is she just her? Oh man.
Because then you start to ask the question, is Andy or Victor the Sun's special? No, because he can't be. Yeah, I know that the moon is surrounded by all the remains of failed Earths, but they don't light up.
Oh god.
That's a great question, Farzero. The idea of Luna and the sun having a similar relation, like Andy and Fuuko and Victor and Juiz.
If we weren't doing a show, I would be binging this series. Like I'd be done so.
I'd be done it so hard right now, because the moon feeling lonely is a huge thing. So Fuuko giving the moon a friend is too easy, because if Fuuko is giving love to the loon and feeling bad for the moon, then she's asking the question of, like, why is the moon lonely? Are we going into myth here? Is this the Japanese lore of the moon and the sun being separated, or Western?
Fuck man.
Does the moon wish the sun and she were back on the same page as each other?
What? Fuuko, what do you mean by this?
Oh
man.
No, it shows more than Fuuko's kindness. It's going to come to mean something very important.
Well, yeah, because the moon is God. She needs to come to love God, right? But the important one's the sun. Like that's what's hard to come to love. It's not hard to come to love the thing that is helping humanity, even if it's misguided by giving weapons fueled by hatred instead of love, right?
Yeah.
Which we obviously need to touch on, but like the moon's not the one that's going to be hard for Fuuko to love. We know that.
No, that will be easy peasy lemon squeezy. Okay. Well, let's come back to that, because there is something there, even if other people are like, move past. That's how you do thinkies. We're doing thinkies out loud, and you just get to see it.
We came to this realization at the same time live on air and haven't gotten to think about it, so we're just like,
Okay. So they fix up Fuuko's body, and then they realize that Andy has to go out. That whole thing was crazy. But that's when I was like saying to you that sometimes things don't feel that crazy. Like when I was watching Andy leave, I was like, yeah, it's fine. And the moon is watching them, and that's an interesting thing. So I feel, but what made me interested in these pages, and I circled some, is that the sky is done in a way that you can see the pixelation within the images.
Yeah.
And
Just like,
then when Andy starts talking about things out loud in front of the moon, the sky gets more pixelated and the pixels grow bigger. So it's almost like just like an open net, which I thought was really interesting because the sky goes from looking like a regular sky when they come out to suddenly looking pixelated and more game-like. That blood bike was PS disgusting. It's amazing how many things in this manga are just gross, and you have to just not think about it.
So the fact that Andy does fucking Kamehameha blasts with blood all the time just sucks. Honestly, conceptually, I love this series. I don't like thinking about how often he's doing a blood key blast, guys. It's a
I can't even imagine if I was watching this as a manga when he's like, "Oh, awesome. Put the sword right through my chest. Blood splatters everywhere. Ah, this takes me back." And then he just starts taking off again. And I'm like, oh, if I was watching this in a manga, I would be horrified.
You are reading a manga.
Or sorry, if I was watching this in an anime, I'd be like, ugh, bleh. Over and over and over again.
I mean, it feels wild that Unburn suddenly exists as a character.
Yeah.
Because that dude was not a character before now.
Okay. The character of the sick little girl was super interesting. I like that, as I said before, I like that she was already seeing the potential of the book being an ability for her to be able to fly and think of the best things and kind of astroplane prior to souls even being able to be separated in a ghost-like fashion. That was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Guys, I know Unburn was already there. I'm being funny when I say it's crazy that he exists. Like, because he didn't mean anything until now. Lucy's character here is very fun. I like her doing her best to help and find joy, teaching Andy how to control his soul. It did feel a little weird to be like, hey, Andy's short a girl to talk to. Let's throw a girl on this bike.
Yeah, but I'm glad we finally got a little girl because I feel like there was a little boy or two that we had already, so I was happy with the little girl.
That's true.
And that floaty thing that went through the sky was a nasty basty, the thirsty, and it made me really wonder because you were able to use thirsty and get rid of thirst by killing it.
Yeah.
And we saw the impact that it had to kill all the different umas and be like, F that shit and just kill it. Yeah. And so I was like, well, then why are you able to slice yourself if you got rid of the slice dude?
Why are you cutting yourself? I don't think it's just an error and a joke they're pointing out that magma still existed. No. I think God was breaking the rules there. I think God was keeping the world together. Like, God sent the Uma to protect and was like, no one will fuck with all these. And when Andy started killing them, God started cheating. Like, I think God was actually cheating at the.
And that's what I think too.
What do you mean Tatiana erased her? She's right here. Look, right there. Look, come on. Mm-hmm.
And I really
unable to ever be healthy, and it's only the third worst ability.
I think her being sick is good. Because I love the idea that you're able to see that she's inside of Sealed because Seal is sneezing. So that was the perfect thing for this character. I still think he shouldn't be able to cut himself, though.
Yeah, what was it Fuuko said? Oh, the details don't matter. No, the details mattered. The details.
No, they matter. Because if I kill this Uma, then thirst will go away. Oh, I killed it. No more thirst. Okay, I'm going to kill the one that's slice. Oh, I can still slice myself.
It's fucked up.
Details matter.
This is a series where the details matter, and Fuuko's lying to us.
It's like
lonely.
It would just be like if people also he killed gravity. Gravity's still there. Exactly. So it's the same way as Oda doesn't make mistakes in the drawings, and we've got Straw Hat missing. We have people in the wrong things. Blah blah blah. It matters.
All the errors are so funny because if you're a casual One Piece reader, I don't think you'd notice how many there are, but because of how obsessive the fan base is, we saw them all. Anyways, but back to this, we do see all the issues, they point them out, and this guy, we said earlier, we can trust him. He doesn't make big mistakes.
Exactly.
It was our big thesis point in the autumn stream, was that this is a guy who takes this seriously. We can trust him as an author.
And so we know that they have to matter.
Yeah.
It's not just chopping. Something matters in here. Okay, so I think that this was really trying to tell us something. When we get into chapter 101 and we're looking at the beginning of it, get out of here. And it says, can you imagine a world without stars? Well, yeah, we just did this. We just had a world without stars. And then it goes on about stars for a while. A place where the word for star, commonplace star-shaped symbols, or anything related to stars or celestial bodies does not exist, nor do constellations, the mythos derived from them, or even the concept of naming the days of the week. With the Earth being the only planet around, the notion of extraterrestrial life never came to be. Up until Uma Galaxy was added, those were the rules of this world. So I stared at that page for longer than I should have. And then it said, and now Uma Thirst just died. Umas are the rules themselves. The death of the Uma means, as of this very moment, the phenomenon of thirst itself has been wiped off the face of the earth. And then right after telling us that, they allowed the phenomena of things that have been wiped off the face of the earth to exist. It matters.
Yeah. God's cheating.
There's cheating taking place.
Ugh. Son, why are you cheating? Although, it was right after Seal was created as a regulator, so maybe Seal sealed the state of the world. Seal was a regulator, not just a rule. So maybe Seal's existence was keeping the world together, was keeping Seal is things staying together. Seal is things staying contained and like preserved, right? That's its job. So maybe it's the creation of Seal.
Maybe. I don't hate it as a concept.
That started to be the case.
I don't know if it's accurate, but I at least like it as an attempt to answer the question and not pretend that it doesn't matter. Because that's ridiculous. A person is like, oh, let's redefine for you right now how these things only exist because the rules exist, and then let's have Andy kill Thirst and then show you how Thirst no longer exists, but then let's have Andy kill another one and have that thing still exist. No, I'm sorry. No, that's not how that goes. And gravity still exists somehow, even though I'm going to kill gravity. No, shut up. Slice and magma, both gone, and yet they exist. Okay, we're moving ahead anyways. Why? You gotta move ahead, friend. Could you believe though? Let's just have a little light applause, a little golf clappy moment, if you will. For Andy being like, oh, you think that I can only fight this one dude because I have one body? That's ridiculous. I'm gonna separate my bones, my blood, and my muscles into 3 different bodies and fight with them.
His fucking skin.
Yeah, it was so gross, yet so good. And the little girl is just sitting there being like, yeah, it's totally normal that I'm watching someone split their being into 3 separate parts, blood, skin, bones. Yeah, I was like, oh, Jesus, God, so gross. And that he sent the right ones after each of them because he paired his abilities with their abilities. Yeah, no, Lucy freaked out. She did not freak out as deeply as she should. She pulled herself together pretty freaking. I'm going to tell you that if that happened in front of me right now, I'm just standing here and that happens, I'm not good moments later.
I mean, you haven't been attacked by the progeny of the concept of blood and shadow all day, though, so you know.
Well, regardless, I'm not good moments later. Even if it happened to me mid-apocalypse, I'm still like, bro, I don't know how to process this. I had to watch you split your body into 3 things and attack the Umas. His blood, his skin, and his bones. And she's like, oh, that is horrifying. Horrifying. And I'm just going to move on now. Lucy's a badass. Okay, so when Juice goes back out and she says, he's really pulling out all the stops. So you finally found something. Figure out which Umas are gone based on the new changes, then locate Umas capable of covering the loss and capture them. And don't forget to share this information with non-negator staff. Yes, ma'am. And then she goes back up. Boom! Time to talk to Luna. And she goes, well, this is a first. You contacting me? Regulations will be enacted. And they talk about how now God has, how Undead has incurred God's wrath. Which is when I think, but we were already seeing that his killing of the Umas wasn't changing things, so that's not just it.
Well, but it could be because we don't know if God's created the regulator before we were told about it. Like we don't know the order there.
We don't fully because this could be happening simultaneously.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
He did kill Gravity and not immediately start being light as a feather.
My thought is I think Seal was created after the killing of Thirst.
I think it could also be that the minute that he killed things, that God started cheating already and was like, no, yeah. I think that's fine, but I love how God is screaming, this is unacceptable. Does he not realize how many resources it will take to utilize other rules to make up for the rules lost? I will enact regulations on undead.
So that's something interesting. Was he just using other Uma to fill their place? Like, all of a sudden, Sticky, you're gonna do Gravity's work. What do you mean? Everybody's really stuck conceptually to the ground. Everyone's really sticky to the. Sticky is your job. Just fucking figure it out. Like maybe that's what it is.
Sticky. I like how you just keep coming back to Sticky.
Well, that's who has to take care of Gravity. All right, Magma. Sticky. What if rocks were this isn't liquid? Your job is to tell rocks that they're liquid now when they're in the middle of the earth.
It's amazing. I love when we see Sun God speaking for the first time in the vengeful, wrathful. I love the way that he is enacting the speech of God through that vengeful typing and the dialogue circles. I think that's just such a brilliant way to show like the wrathful anger of the gods. Where's Fuuko?
She's right here in her little chair, in her special chair.
Show me. Hello, Fuuko.
There she is. Don't spend it all in one place.
That's an interesting question that Ray's asks. What if the reason the rules exist after the Umas is they still have an existence of a ghost?
No.
I don't hate that.
That kind of makes sense. Ghost wasn't dead yet.
Yeah.
No, Raph's Revenge. Her name's not Fucko.
I forgot about Raph's Revenge saying that they thought it was Fucko.
It is funny.
So good. I'm going to take that and give it a high five. I think that seal what kind of made you feel that whole Eden thing because of the idea of the snake being sealed down?
The snake being sealed down was something I thought of a little after I started to think about Eden, but I can't remember what exactly prompted me to think about the Garden of Eden. Oh, it was just thinking of Clothy. Looking at Clothy, I was when Clothy talked about insects, I was reminded Clothy existed, and I was like, why the fuck does clothes need an Uma? And I started to think, and I was like, oh yeah, the Garden of Eden, that makes total sense. And then when we saw the snake being sealed by seal in the past, and then talking about that's how you trap undead, that's what got me to start thinking about undead maybe being the snake, which could make sense because some depictions have the snake and Satan being separate entities, that the snake is a servant of Satan, not as Satan himself. So if he was a servant of Luna, that could make sense.
Yeah, I agree.
You end up thinking of the animal seal when you talk about seal. Well, we're not. We're talking about the Pokemon seal. So keep up.
I also really think that seal is dumb as a concept usually. And when I saw them do it, I was like, I love the way that they've shown it. Like, I wouldn't have seen it for the breadth that it has. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would have been like, seal. And then I started to think about how many different things in movies and books talk about sealing in the dead, putting a seal over something to keep back all the bad that was in the world and to hide it behind closed doors, and broken seals on jars that have released ghosts and other bad things into the world. And I was like, you know what, you can actually see that they are just using a concept that we have as an existing thing, that you can seal the evil inside of things or the things that do poorly for the world. So it would make sense that that's actually an ability that would work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there is two copy abilities in the series, which I'm glad that Seal's copy ability has more understanding, but there's also two undead abilities in this as well.
Just one works slightly differently and seemingly worse because motherfucker, sorry, you don't make it. we know the end of the story and it ain't you.
It isn't the story of a sad, lonely vampire.
No, weird wannabe vampire.
I thought it was going to be the story of a sad, lonely vampire. I'm kind of disappointed, if I'm going to be honest.
Tragic for you.
Also, I'm pissed off that Seal's a boy.
Yeah, Seal really had Lady Gaga energy, huh?
Yeah, I'm really angry about it because it looks so much like Poker Face. Plus, look at the beautiful hips.
Yeah.
Which don't lie.
Yeah.
And that stunning Lady Gaga haircut.
Let's be real, though. This series is very gender. So we regularly get characters who are not the gender we're assuming they are.
Agreed. And Seal also has the sun on her chest, which should have made us notice, but we didn't have the time normally that we would spend, but the sun on the chest was the same as the sun.
Chest, and they were talking about being the chosen ones.
But did you notice the things on their chest that say the different words? Bomb?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why Unruin was able to tell that he had Andy, right?
Yes. But that's the same thing that's on what's-his-face's head.
Who?
What's the dude who was put inside of the... was it a ring? Anuun? No. Who's the dude that's inside of... Is it a ring that he's inside of?
Dude, I don't know what we're talking about now.
The guy who died because of his master, but now he can be called out as a weapon.
Oh, Monkey Man.
Shen, thank you.
Shen is his name, yeah.
But that's what Shen has on his head.
Does he? Okay. Oh, a little tile. Yeah, he's got a little tile. Yeah.
It's not a tile, you weirdo. So that's a type of like seal. So that thing on his head, then it's a seal that seals him into the instrument that person now uses, like a talisman. So it's showing that rules on this planet all work the same way. Like the author is trying to make it stand out. This is Seal. Notice the things that Seal has inside of them. They have sealed them, and now they have these floaty, weird things that show us that they've been sealed inside. Notice Shen. Shen has been sealed inside of this thing. Notice how they are done in the exact same way. You must have this to know something has been sealed. It allows us that whenever we see that, we now know that that is an embodiment of Seal. We don't even have to question it. We just know.
I didn't think about that. That makes sense. I like that.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about. Like when we talk about how you can trust this author, you can trust the author because they use the systems that they use in everything. And so if they tell us something, then it must be so, or it's pointing out something that's wrong.
I need to go look at something. I need to go look at something real quick. 1865 Dead End. I have a theory.
Are you talking about the tattoos and the undead?
I'm looking at his tattoos.
Because I am also looking at his tattoos. So why are you
also be
looking at
doing
his
that?
tat? Pardon?
Well, I just had a question about it because 1865.
That's when he first comes out, isn't it? Before that, he said that's when he first remembered existing.
Is that the like save file? Is that like, is this here because of memory? Like that's the start of the new file is 1865 Dead End because we've given up on the previous version?
That's a great question.
Like, is this the title of his save file? Like, when you go to like open something and open a video game file and it has like a little boop type name. Is that it? Is that what
Yes.
we're looking at?
Dude, it could be because the tattoos are literally aka sealed into his soul, seared into his soul. They're attached to the very piece of his being. And if the thing in his head is doing that, his memory card is doing that, and it's the date that Andy is first created, then maybe that is Andy is more permanent, which is shown through this tattoo.
Yeah, people are saying his first memory, but did he get the tattoo? Because why is it on him? So why does it come back? Why?
Yeah, we've never. There's no memory of him getting a tattoo. It just exists. I don't know. I like your idea because that's also a different type of seal. He can heal it. He can't just choose not to heal himself.
I don't know.
No, not just because character design. Those tattoos are very important. Do we know why?
He can. You say he can, but the ink shouldn't come back together.
The ink flies apart, gets blown up, burnt off, and comes back every time. Perfect ink.
He regrows his entire body from a hand. The ink shouldn't come with it. That's granted. Actually, by that logic, the memory card shouldn't, but it's an artifact, so it's allowed to.
No, it's an artifact. The ink is linked to his soul.
Okay.
The ink is linked. In my opinion, the ink is linked. The ink is linked. Now that I'm rhyming it, I think it should be a rap. The ink is linked to his soul, y'all. He's going to be different and tall.
Because he thinks of it as part of himself. That does make more sense.
No, it's linked.
Ink.
The ink is linked.
I'm gonna look something up.
It's meant to be a ramp. I'm gonna turn it into a rap later. It's gonna be straight to the top of the charts with a bullet. And you're all gonna be like, "Oh, Mama was right. Mama's so brilliant."
That's what they're all gonna say.
The ink is linked to his soul. That's a great rap.
Everybody's gonna say it. They're all gonna be like, "That's so real. You're so accurate."
The ink is linked to his soul, man. You don't need to be so droll, man. See, it's already there. It's almost there. Okay.
Don't worry, I'm just doing research. It's important.
Don't worry, I'm just looking at pictures. It's also important. I love how deeply under the skin, see what I did there, of the Uma seal Andy gets by saying the insolent remark. Where did it go? She wraps up the chick. He takes her inside of his ugly little body that should be a Lady Gaga and isn't for reasons nobody knows.
Lord Gaga at your service.
And then they say, oops, sorry, silly me. I almost forgot that you can't be sealed unless you're entirely wrapped up. Then again, I'd hate to miss my chance to search for the human core. Where is your core? Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to figure out, where is his core?
I mean, he doesn't have one. He can regenerate from everywhere because Fuuko replaced his conception of how he
I
worked.
understand that.
His
I
head used to
understand
be
that.
the core of himself. Yeah.
I agree. But now is it a moving thing?
Guys, they've done something fucky on us to hide the tattoo. I went back to check. When he pops up from his grave, he's wearing a shirt so we can't see his chest. But the very first time we can see him, we do see him with the tattoo already, with the I took to the battlefield. So they leave it ambiguous very intentionally if he got it right away after waking up or if he woke up with it.
I think as soon as that thing was put in his head, it happened, and I think it's linked to his soul. And I think that's why there can be two Andys that can move back and forth, because he's a real Andy. He exists. Sorry, and then there's Victor. And I think Victor is an entirely different person. It's like you have two full entities in the same body that are both sharing the same ability.
Yeah, no. Fuuko says his tattoos and the crew confirmed them. I know he had them back in time, but we don't know if he woke up with them. That's what's ambiguous. We know he had them in the past.
It's attached to his soul.
All right.
It needs to be so that Andy and Victor can share a body and be two different humans. They're not just two different personalities. They're two different people.
Okay. All right. Let's keep moving. Sorry. I just wanted to go check.
No, I'm not going to move now. That's where I am forever.
Okay.
I don't know what to
We're
tell
stuck
you.
here now. Well.
I really like that Vampire Face has the same tattoo as
Lord Gaga.
as Lord Gaga. But more importantly, they both have tattoos that were given to them by, I don't know, God.
I mean, it is God's symbology, and they both worship and were chosen by God. So yeah.
So God gave them tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
Where did Undead get his tattoo? Was it also God? Was it also God's memory card? We shall see. Let's go forward in time, and I gotta try and get rid of this vampire. Piss off, vampire! Piss, vampire!
Unruin is such a bastard.
I'm not a big fan of Unruin.
Fucking getting to work with Uma Blood and Uma Shadows that he gets to do cool shit. Fucking, I don't know. Get over yourself. You know what Uma Andy has working with him? Clothing.
You know what we need to talk
about? 101 Master Rules. Oh, I read the Master Rules thing and I moved past it. I don't have thoughts at the moment. Maybe later. What do we need to talk about?
Why are you so much older? Where'd you go? Are you still there? Here we go. Why are you so much older? It's a petty dream, if I do say so myself.
God, it's so beautiful and sad.
Oh, are you shitting my face right now? Is your dream seriously to grow old? Is it seriously to finally be able to love and live and have a full life where you end up old?
Yeah.
Oh, my whole heart, my crying. Oh, it was just, no words. I was so mad about that part because I actually felt like tearsy. Which part did you say made you weepsy?
We'll get there. It's at the very end.
So she teaches him the thing, and once he realizes that he just uses that beautiful thought, he can just make an old Andy in order to move forward and have a perfect dream. Ugh.
There is something interesting about what Foucault says later about how hardship brought them together, and the world without hardship wouldn't be good. With what people are pointing out here, that Lucy's ability to control her soul comes from living a terrible, unhealthy life where she's not safe and needing escapism. She is more able and ready to seek out a life beyond the one she has and more able to imagine it because escapism is something she's needed. And then Foucault later talks about how everyone is who they are because of their suffering. This is played on a lot in this arc.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
It comes up in
And
another way later too.
there's only one of any given person. But mums are special. Don't you get that? No, I don't. Parents, lovers, companions, siblings. The rules humans create are always so unclear, unfair, unsettling, and unintelligible.
I mean, they say what you will, bud, but you want to talk about unfair, you're going to meet him later. I would love it if unclear was a negator and no one can find them because it's just a negator whose only thing is no one can understand what they're saying.
That's awesome. I love how everything is better because Rip comes and we're like, oh, it's Rip. Rip is here.
Rip's
I'm
going to
so
help
happy.
us.
Rip is gonna help us, right? Rip, you're such a helpful boy. And then Rip is like, yeah.
The Rip fight made me have a realization that I find very beautiful, which is this is a series that because we need to come to love every character, fights are always going to be sad from here on out when they end because they just like with the death of Spring, it's not happy that Rip is defeated. It's nice that Rip's come to give his dream to someone else and believe that this can be fixed. That's nice, but like what's not nice is Rip losing. It's not a good feeling.
Yeah, and you know what? I think it's really interesting that they named him Rip because I really feel like Rip would like to die, but Rip would like to die knowing that he did the thing that he needed to do for love. So it's almost like Rip's name, Rest in Peace, is like also his dream.
Yeah.
And that's kind of brutal.
I think there's this beautiful texture that, from what I can tell, his power didn't activate when he started the surgery, and it seems like the surgery was successful and it activated while he was suturing her closed. So those tiny wounds from suturing weren't able to heal. Like the cut, all of the other cutting did, and then the suturing, the act of healing and putting back together, the final moment of kindness is what wouldn't heal. That's so much the fuck more brutal than if his power had activated at the beginning of surgery and she just died. That's a way to make it so much more impactful than what I was expecting. Yeah, the last repair, the last act of every other act of surgery, while healing can be seen as like an attack, but the last act that is just repair, pure repair, is when unrepair activated.
So you can actually see how God is intentionally being a prick and doing things for enjoyment and using people. Because having Rip gain his power in that moment is like, how can we make this the worst thing ever?
I thought it would just be the surgery. I thought he'd go to do the surgery and she'd die. So much worse.
Yeah, and so that's why we know that God is the worst one.
And yet Fuuko needs to come to love him.
I really look forward to the story where Fuuko comes to love him. And I think that's one of the things that's very comparable between Fuuko and Luffy is that Luffy comes to love a lot of characters that are not really traditionally able to be loved. And Luffy finds the things about them that make them worth loving or being quote unquote friends. I mean, it's basically saying loving, but it's going to be very interesting to see how that's done in the case of Fuuko now.
But Fuuko, unlike Luffy, can't come to hate people either, because we've kind of touched on this arc that Fuuko's inability to feel hatred, like how much she doesn't want to hate people, is so her strength and is so what changes people, especially because so many of these abilities are based off of hatred and love. Like, can we move on to that now? Because the fight happens, we know how it ends, and then after Rip is destroyed, we get the fight at the Onion, and we learn about Billy's power, Unfair, and how it works, and finding out that the reason that he couldn't copy Fuuko's power was that she couldn't hate him is beautiful.
Wait, yes, but wait.
Nico
Let's
versus
talk
Andy
about that in a
it
minute.
happens in a second.
First, when Rip says, and I quote, "Hand them over. I want your points, all of them, to ride." Sorry, I'm gonna move this. I'm going to ride the arc and repair Leela one more time.
Mm-hmm.
I keep in mind, why does he need all the points? He just needs to be the highest.
Yeah.
Is he saying that he wanted Victor's points or that he wanted Andy's points?
What a great question. I mean, if Andy doesn't have a seat at the Union, or if Victor doesn't, then I guess he only needs Andy's points.
That doesn't make sense. Andy didn't have that many points. They talk about that later.
That's true. Andy doesn't have a lot of points.
Yeah, exactly.
Rip might not know about Victor, someone's pointing out. That actually makes sense, too. Rip doesn't really know everything that's happening, to be honest.
Yeah, but no, he must know about Victor. Because otherwise, why is he asking just for frickin' Andy's points, which are not going to be that great?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but Nico happens after Unfair. We can talk about Unfair before Nico.
All right, now, say your thing again and go ahead.
So Unfair, I love how this power works in this final reveal, because showing off why he wasn't able to get access to Fuuko's power was because Fuuko couldn't bring herself to hate him and was trying her best to find empathy. And that once again, that's how she convinces someone. Like, he was like, no, it needs to be you, because she's such a kind person and so capable of seeing the good in people that nothing could make her hate Billy. And that's what convinces Billy that she's going to be able to do this, that her powers will be able to touch God. It's beautiful. I love it. It's just wonderful.
It's also terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is it terrible? Is it beautiful? Yes, but it's also absolutely crushing. And he also was forced to see her in a lot of different ways because Andy took her up. So he's seen her fighting off Spring.
Yeah.
He's seen her holding Spring while Spring died and feeling great empathy for Spring.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's all sorts of things that he saw. But I think in the end that you're right, that he sees himself as being the least lovable. And yet she was able to see the good in him.
Yeah. It's like him never being able to access her powers is so special to this. You are right that we should revisit the fight with Juice and Billy now that we know his power. I think that'd be fun. Not today on stream, but I'm going to revisit it.
What's the name of the chick who's the sister of the chick who dies?
Great question.
Humans, what's the name of the chick who's the sister? Thank you. She is my new saddest creature.
Yeah, that she's just in love with the guy who's in
and we
love with
know
her
this
sister,
all
her
along,
dead
but
sister.
No, we know this all along, but you got to imagine it a little more, because I think that people overshadow it and that they don't just stop for a minute and think that all this time she just sits there helping to have retribution for her sister dying, and trying to help her sister, even though the man she loves is in love with her sister. And then she says, she doesn't hit on him. They don't smash faces once she's dead. And then she goes, you're always like this. You always make decisions on your own and you always take things upon yourself. You always try to keep me from getting involved. When you cut your legs off because you said it would make you stronger, we joined under. Even back when we fought on Autumn, you tried to leave me behind. If it's okay for you to risk your life for the person you love, then let me do the same for you. let me put my life on the line for you at the very least. That crushed me. Like, that crushed me to think of how hard she had to hold back all that love because she knew that, yeah, they kissed during spring, but that was nothing. Like the idea of her sister's gone. Both of them are just living for the death of her sister. Both of them. And at no point do they stop to say, like, we have this life here now and this love here now. No.
I think his folly of becoming obsessed with this one person who's already died is then played again with Nico, where his entire life is consumed by the inability to move on, where he couldn't even be a good father because he didn't want to let something else in that because of his powers he'd remember better and replace her. So he becomes this miserable man stuck on the fading memories he has from before he became unforgettable. It's very much the same as Rip, of a person who has been unable to recognize the love they could have and appreciate the love around them because they're stuck on one thing that they loved, on one person they loved, and nothing else matters. They can't let anything else matter, or it feels like a betrayal of that, and it's destroying the people around them.
Which is even why sucky vampire dude's speech, that's the reason I was reading it off. It becomes more relevant. The entire world is at risk of blowing up. Everybody's lives are at risk of being gone. One mother, one father, one sister, one brother, one lover is what he's saying doesn't matter. Like, look at the entire world, and you are going to have retribution for this one person and put everybody else at risk because you can't see that you need to put that aside so you can think about how to keep the world moving past, because he would never want to just redo a loop and have the world saved if she didn't live in it. He would rather continue to do the loops forever until she was in it. And so then how do you get everybody on side? Because I think you kind of have to. So Fuuko's going to have this huge thing because you kind of have to have everybody on side so they don't do stupid side quests when they're like, I get that we're trying to save the world, but I kind of have to save this one person. And everyone is like, yeah, we'll go into the sun, you dumbass. And they're like, okay, but like this one person, which is weak ass. Like, I love you with my entire heart, soul. I would do anything. I would give up my life, etc., for you because I'm what's called a parent. But am I going to make it if the world can never live again because I'm going to fixate on just bringing you back? Probably not, because I don't imagine that would make you happy.
No, that's not how you want anyone to live if you die. The
Yeah.
obsession and inability to accept what's there and move on. It's interesting. We have heroes who want death. We have a hero who starts suicidal and a hero who's lived too long who hasn't been able to die. And so many of the folly characters are those who can't move on, those who can't continue to live a life and appreciate what they have, and who, importantly to Fuuko's message, can't just understand that by living happily and remembering people, they are carrying them on with them and making their life worthwhile. The folly of people so often in this series is being stuck and not accepting death and moving past it. To go back to our pre-video that we're talking to One Piece fans, this is writing better on the someone only dies when they're forgotten better than One Piece, because so much of the series is built around this one theme and so many characters are built to explore it.
The entire series is built around that theme because then none of them can accept death. None of them can accept the death of a single loved one. And then the hero is the person who doesn't die. He and the person with the bad luck. And everyone has to put their faith, because he's the one that keeps coming back no matter what. He doesn't even have to ride a goddamn arc. In the one thing that they can't accept. The thing that he makes exist. Which
so
is
beautiful.
a wild way to do that. Ugh. Thank you for following. I don't know how to say that.
Yeah, I don't either. The other thing,
PTITILL. I don't know how to say
also
that.
ties into another theme this arc about your hardships make you, because I now think about Fuuko and how, of course, she has a belief that you have to live on carrying the people you remember, because she hasn't been able to have anything else but her memories. So carrying on the people she's killed with her power by remembering them is something that she's had to believe and had to believe in as valuable.
Yeah, but there is more to her. There's some, and I agree. Like, you've just started the conversation on this, but there's something about her that is even more special. Like, luck shouldn't be that big of a concept. It's the same thing as seal, that idea that I'm saying, that these things shouldn't be the things that are so big. Like, if somebody said love and gravity and death, I'm like, yeah, those all make sense. Those should all be things we talk about. Hatred, etc., etc. But luck,
I mean,
and luck
but
talks about
remember, the
luck.
negators aren't meant to explore what it means to have something, but what it means to not have it. And
I
complete lack of
agree,
luck
but
makes
that
us
really
painfully
talks
lucky.
about how much this person wants to talk about fate versus happenstance, and how things are very random, because that's what luck is. Luck is just very random.
I mean, something we talked about before streaming today is I think at the end of the series, because it has to be the ultimate luck and the ultimate death, and the ultimate death is an ending. I brought up that at a museum once, you remember saying, it was not a time I was traveling with you, it was when you were in Europe on a school trip. Um, and you said, you looked at a beautiful painting and said, they're so lucky. And people were like, well, why is that? Because like they had the skill, it wasn't luck. And you were like, well, imagine having something this beautiful trapped in your head and having the ability to get it out. I feel the same way about a lot of art. And I think the greatest luck you could get, and why I think the end of the series is the end of the series, is because that is the death of this world, is for it to end. But it gets to be a beautiful end, and the end they want. And the luck is having the opportunity to tell the story you want to tell and get it out. I think the opportunity to be published in Shonen Jump and finish a story does feel lucky. Now, that said, I don't think it's to be Ragnarok. I think Fuuko is going to get what Fuuko wants, which is a life where
Ugh,
everybody gets to be
all
human.
you've done is crushed my soul more. Like, now all I want for this author is for them to get to finish it so that it is the way that they want it to be, and not a forced ending where they're just trying to give us all a thing to hang on because
Mhm.
they need to end something. And so, like, because yeah, the idea of having something like that trapped in your head and being able to actually have the skill to put it out, like, it does make me feel lucky. Same with, I have full operas in my head and full concerts in my head, and I don't have the skill to get them out, and I feel trapped with it sometimes. And to think that this person has this story and has gone this far, and they could have it pulled from them and have the unluck of not getting to finish it the way that they want to. Oh, that's crushing. Ugh. Your father's in the back asking why. Disney hasn't been promoting it, and it's possible that it might not continue.
I mean, the manga will continue. The anime may never get adapted, at least not until
Yeah.
the anime manga's done. Because a lot of
Yeah.
manga that get canceled end up getting like a more abridged, faster paced reattempt later.
It would crush me. Crush. All right. Let's go back in and continue to crush our souls. Let's go make ourselves unhappy. Hey, follow me, gang. Let's go to the future where things are sadder.
Yeah. So we get to the chair. Should we get to the table and the chair, or what? What's up?
Yeah, let's do that. When she first sits down and she realizes, and everyone's gonna have to, and she's like, okay, I guess we're gonna do this thing, and it seemed like such a big deal to get her there. And you gotta know, because you've met the dude before and you know how he does shit, that that's not gonna be the, oh, science is a god against war. against, or science is a war against God. That's got to come up later, not now. That's got to come up in our thinking later about the moon being lonely. And you're like, oh my God, we made it. She's going to be there, and everyone has agreed that she's going to be there. That's amazing. Okay, now she's going to ride through. What is that going to look like? And then to have it be that that now she has to sit there and just watch and not be allowed to move while everybody is fighting for her, and she just sits there like a big fat hairy spider and has to watch everyone fight and die so that she can make it through the loop. That's a special kind of bullshit.
It's awful, but I do feel happy for Juice that this is the first time she's ever gotten to do this, that she's always been the one people have to fight and die for, and she gets to be out there this time.
Instead of being happy for Juice, I felt like, how you like me now, Victor? Like, I just felt like you keep trying to kill Juice and take this decision on for yourself, which I think is the ultimate in being a non-partner, that you just want, you've decided what is best for your partner, even though they are telling you with their words what is best for themselves. And you're just like, but what about I kill you because you just need to get to die? She's like, no, I'm legitimately trying to do what I think is the right thing right now. And you need to just shut your stupid face and let me actually have the agency of my own life. So when Juice dies and Victor has to sit in the pain of her death and eat
for the first time in billions
for
of
the
years of
first time
suffering,
in
being
billions
alone.
of years. Yeah, in his hands, and just live in that hellscape. I was like, you earned that, buddy. You absolutely earned that.
The glee that Moon has in the weapons being used is so interesting.
Oh, it is way too interesting. Like, why does Luna want Soul killed so badly?
Killed, beaten, matched. The fact that Rebellion, so two things about Rebellion, it's a weapon that is a book, and again tied to Luna with books, but then, and the fact that it's fueled by hatred, while we have fueled by love as the real weapon we think can kill God with Fuuko.
Yes. Yes.
I wonder if Sun and Moon can exist without each other. Hear me out on something.
Do you think that they can be blended into one, or do you think they must have each other?
What if the way we kill Sun is by having Fuuko go to the Ark and go to the moon to meet with Luna and talk with Luna and touch Luna?
Give Luna unluck and kill Sun through the destruction.
Or make Sun be alone. Make Sun go through what Victor went through when Juice actually died.
Except for Moon is already lonely, so why would Sun not be lonely? If Luna is lonely, why isn't Soul?
Maybe Soul is, but it's like Victor, just convinced, he's so convinced about being right that isn't acknowledging the pain.
Huh. I mean, maybe.
Maybe that's just how Fuuko's going to be able to get Sun to open up and converse, is that pain.
Except for that by the time that they do that, then if Sun is just in pain, what good is that going to serve?
I don't know. I think it's possible, though. Just at the moment,
sorry, your father is being the most distracting thing on the planet. Just a minute. Who is that?
This is Fuuko.
Yes. Sure. You're asking me?
Yes, hurry up.
He was at your office. He was district counselor.
Oh, right. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry, your father is trying to tell me things, and I'm like, I don't know if you noticed this, but I'm chit-chatting with people right now.
Well, when it was time sensitive.
No, we're not disconnected. She's just distracted. Don't worry. We'll be back. We'll keep going.
Am I back? Do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You just weren't talking. You back? We good? We good? We Gucci?
Did you just ask if we were Gucci?
Yeah, dude. It's not new.
Yeah, we're good. We're Gucci.
It's not new.
No, it's super not new. That's why I said. Okay.
Okay.
Everyone's obsessed with Nico. If you want to talk about him, we can in a minute. He kind of pissed me off, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, fucking prick. We talked about Nico. Well, you were all there. Just because we didn't talk about him enough for your satisfaction doesn't mean he wasn't talked about.
He kind of pissed me off. Like, am I happy that
story.
he had this? Am I happy that he had this person in his life? Yes, but I liked his wife way more than him.
Yep, she was cool. Love a lady.
You know, like, she again was this awesome badass. And she had to deal with his like stupid moods and bitchiness, and I was like, ugh, you're so cringy.
Yeah. I don't know. Nico, his story is very sad. We talked about how it works thematically. I think this author is getting better over time at having these sudden backstories come up without it feeling like it derails what's happening and like we're just learning about it for the sake of something to be sad. Like it's just feeling more deft each time we get a backstory.
It really is.
Well
and Wrath or Revenge is right in that Unforgettable was a super sick reveal, the way that it was revealed.
Yeah, I had already kind of thought that earlier in this arc. I started to be like, oh, Nico might have a similar power to Vegapunk, and that's why he's able to be such a good scientist.
But the thing that I really liked about it is that he said, no, you don't remember it. You remember an idea or a feeling or an emotion around it. You don't remember the size of the tear or the shape. And
that's
and then said all those other details, and that's what the cool reveal was.
Yeah, it was revealed in a very cool way.
Because even people who have like perfect memories aren't going to say like, I remember the shape of the tear.
I often think about an interview I read with a woman who has an eidetic memory, and she's like, you don't understand how lucky you are to forget, because when you have a breakup, your brain is able to make you not remember how much love and devotion you felt and how certain you felt that this was perfect. I don't have that. I have to know all of the feelings that I have had, and it makes everything else feel cheap.
Ew.
Yeah. Forgetting is a grace, and that interview made me realize that in a brutal way.
I think you have the right level of memory.
It's not terrible. I can remember enough to not suffer, yeah.
No, you have an excellent memory, like an absolutely freaking spectacular memory, but you don't remember the shape of the tear.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the right level.
Yeah, hopefully. I think there's give and take with everything.
No. That's a very throw off answer. I'm right about this.
Okay.
You've got a great memory.
Description
and it's a thing you should be really glad with.
I will agree that the description of being crushed under the weight of ever-present experience of everything is brutal, and the fact that like the memories of his wife have to fade, and it's only after as she was dying that it activated. Again, God being a prick for no good reason.
Exactly. And it's just letting us hate God in a lot of different ways, which makes us want to be, which always also makes us really question, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Go to page 12 of 19 in chapter 129.
I'm a couple chapters off of that, so give me a second here.
Okay.
Oh, come on. There we go. So page 12. Yeah, I'm here. Superior, capable killing, sun. 3 spirit treasures.
No.
Continued.
Just look at the artifact.
It's a big,
Okay,
big old shield, big old diamond boy
just
shield.
stop. The reason that I'm looking at it, the way that I'm looking at it is because I just recently I got a book from a colleague of mine who has written 25 novels. Like, shout out, babe, you rock. And she gave me corner protectors for the book. They're metal corner protectors that you put on so that it doesn't damage the book.
And they look like the little logos on the tips.
And I was like, oh, they look just like those little things on the tips. And then I slightly shifted the perspective of the shield and realized that if you press that middle down, and right now the shield is bulging out, that is a folded piece of paper. That is a book page.
So we continue with Luna having book themes because we have Apocalypse, we have the pen, we have the sword that's a book, and we have this that, you're right, is it looks like a distorted, bent out of shape page or book.
It's not even, it's just folded, because if you look at it and you realize that it's 3-dimensional, it comes up into the center because of the different ways that it's folded, that if you flattened it out, it would be a flat page.
The lower tip still feels too long for me, but it very, very much feels like a book.
And remember when I told you that the name of that weapon was taken off of the skin of the thing that created Zeus, created the god?
This would be the skin of a book.
The skin of a book.
Oh, what? That's kind of... Yeah, that's interesting.
Take a look at it.
Imagine a book, and you fold it outwards so that the 4 corners, put a metal protector on the corners like it's a fancy book.
We should send a picture to people in the Discord. I'll see if I can get one.
This is very interesting.
I'll put this down here.
So now we get to where I cried.
What you do to see it, PS guys, is just turn the page a little bit sideways. Imagine you press the center down in that, and suddenly it becomes a big book page that's been folded in a way so that it bulges out 3-dimensional and looks like a shield. You'll also notice that there's some transparency along the edges, almost like a vellum or a thin part, and then a book part. I'm going to send this picture to the Discord of Discordium. Boom. Discord. I don't really have this.
So I want to
Dr. Jack, I'm going to send it to you because I'm not attached for some reason to all of Discord right now. Can you please put it in general for people?
So I want to briefly touch on something now, which is the part that made me cry.
Okay, go ahead.
The reveal that Akira was there the entire time and showing this person patiently watching the end of the world, unable to help, but appreciating their heroes, was actually beautiful. I
agree.
I teared up. It is, like I've said, I tear up from anime a lot because it has music and voice acting and all that. I don't tear up reading manga that often. I feel deep emotion, but I don't cry that often, right? I was crying. I started to cry for that. It was so sad and beautiful, and the hopeful smile of like, you guys did it. You did everything you could. You saved Fuuko. Next time I hope you win. Oh my god, it's so beautiful. It touched me in such a deep way.
I'm gonna send a second picture. And then I'll get into that with you. Dr. Jack, can you please send this one as well, because it really shows how this is just the way it's folded and that it's just a page. It literally shows it here. Sorry. Discord.
Yeah, Brother Onion,
never mind.
You might have a pretty good idea of what makes me cry if you could tell that was going to make me cry, because that uniquely got me. It was, oh my god, it was beautiful.
It's just a page. Okay, before you go on, I think we really need to do this, because I think we do, because we'll talk about the sad thing after. But go to page chapter 1. chapter 129, page 19.
Uh-huh.
It isn't off-centered. It isn't anything. It's literally just a page. If you flatten it out, you'll see it.
All right, let me grab this and pop it on so people can see. So people can see the visual reference here. I'm going to flip it so that the image recognizer systems at our good friend youtube.com don't work. In fact, we'll turn it blue. Now youtube.com can't see it because it's flipped and blue.
No, not that page. There's a new one. Like, yes, that page is great, but the page I'm talking about is page 19. This one doesn't show as well.
Are you talking about the right-hand side or the left-hand side?
On page 19?
Yeah.
Let me just make sure that I'm in the right spot first. Discord. It's page 19 of 19, so there is no left-hand side of chapter 129.
You're on mobile, so you don't see both.
It's the one where he's holding the shield in front of Victor's body as Juice moves in with the giant sword towards the sun.
I'm telling you, this part stretched out. I'm telling you, if this were a paper, this doesn't fit. This part is.
I'm looking at it right now, and I know a fold. Do you see the way that it's tri-folded on the left
these
and right?
Folds, if you flatten it out, are straight. If you straighten it out, I think it looks like this. Like, I don't think this last bit fits properly.
I don't know. In my universe, when I've done a fold, I've made something that's looked
this last
just
bit
like
is
that.
Way too stretched out.
But look at the trifolds on the left and right. If you fold them out different, it'll straighten.
Not this part, because look, this part objectively has extra points. See, up here it goes straight from the triangles. These all go straight from the triangle, whereas this goes out and then has extra corners, so it can't be. Like
that goes in and that goes in.
There, you can't have extra corners like that and have it be.
I still think that it looks like it is literally a page.
It does look like a book that's been bent out or a page. Like it definitely still looks like it.
Keep in mind that a book is a rectangle, not a square.
I'm aware. I'm saying one corner can't have extra.
I do agree that there's one extra part there, but I think that this is a thing that's trying to show us that it's made out of the skin of something that created God, and that looks like a book.
Wait.
Page.
So this wouldn't be God the author. This would be God's created by the author.
God's created.
Interesting.
So it wouldn't be that God is the author necessarily then. This would be like with Zeus, the thing that raised or created or helped them live or get stronger. God still could be the author, but the thing that got them stronger and made them live would be this book.
We'll see.
And then, hear me out.
Yeah.
The memory card, the shield, and the Ragnarok book are all different types of books or memory keepers.
Yeah.
That are the only reason the world can still continue to exist over and over again is because you have multiple facets that keep the record of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's something there. Okay, carry on about the sad side because I want you to get to have the moment.
I already did it. You were just distracted.
I know, I was distracted though, so say it again so I could be here.
I don't know if I can just repeat all that. Like, also
cry.
I already said it emotionally. You're not. You missed the part where I was being emotive. I can't.
I'm gonna want you to. I'm gonna need you to cry.
I can't bring that back. I was already emotive. Sorry.
I don't know what to tell you. I'm gonna need.
You're busy looking for book evidence.
No, I just turned the page to go and look at your thing and then was like, oh shit, that's an even better thing.
God damn it. Yeah, it's sad. Akira was there and couldn't do anything to help and just had to say goodbye to the heroes that he loved. I said this emotively. We're not getting back to that.
Well, that was almost emotively. Almost emotively. I think you could do better.
Yeah, I did better. It happened.
I don't even feel like you're trying, if I'm going to be honest.
It's gonna be a fun one.
God. I'm winning Mother of the Year this year for sure.
I were gonna see comments about this.
People are gonna be like, worst mother ever. Hey, I'm a teacher of the arts.
Yeah.
All I'm trying to do, constipated, is help my son re-find his expressions.
Yeah, that's a thing you can say.
I loved that we knew that Juice had to sit in that seat over and over again and watch all of the people die. I love that Luna told Fuuko that this is a thing that Juice has had to watch over and over again, and that this is what she did, that all these feelings of sadness were the exact same things that passed through Juice. But it also made me realize that the moon is definitely a lot more on the side of the humans than we're being led to believe, because the moon is literally saying, yeah, I feel this way because I'm going to tell you about her emotions and how she felt, so you don't feel alone in your emotions right now.
Yeah.
The way you did a minute ago, where I walked away because I was paying attention to a
pointing
book
out that
cover.
Fuuko does say you're no different about Luna and God, Luna and Sun. So like has an opinion that Luna is not like this good divine entity. But is that just because Luna thinks hatred is the path to power? Like made a sword fueled by hatred instead of it's interesting. It's difficult.
Yeah. For 455.4 billion years, you've been right there alive and by my side, so it never clicked. One by one by one, they all grew stronger, so they would never lose this warmth. For me, end of the road, huh? For us. What gives us strength, what pushed us to live, what shaped us and held us together has always been this feeling that we gain from those that we hold dear. I learned that far too late.
Aww.
So that's the thing that is going to hold everyone together. It has to be this feeling. It has to be through love.
Even hatred, which is powerful and fuels the rebellion, comes from love.
Exactly. Because when he says crush arc and shape the world that you desire, then instead they all pull together in love for each other. The hate isn't the opposite of love. They use the love they have to fuel the hate to its maximum for the love of each other, so that Fuuko can survive and Fuuko can be the one that takes everything on, so their loved ones and the people that mean so much to them have a chance, so that the earth can come back. And so Fuuko really means it when she says, you just don't understand. But the moon kind of does understand, whether she realizes it or they realize it or not, because they comfort Fuuko. Oh, talk about sad though. Chapter 132.
Yep.
Time to Go loop, where Fuuko's standing out in the foreground, waving goodbye to all of her friends.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Let's do what we said we'd do and really quickly reread the last chapter before we get to closing segments, so that we can feel like we're coming at this the way we said we would. So let's. Oh yeah, a goo happens. Bunny. So let's read chapter 132.
Yeah, the bunny gets boiled.
Stuff. What the fuck does unback mean? That's
right? Unback?
What does unback mean? All right, let's read 132.
Roxanne, love how we were talking about the loop, but of all of us are just like a goo. Meanwhile, I'm like, yeah, there was this rabbit. She was a kid. I mean, everyone died. And she's like, I held my spot. And I'm like, I guess you did, rabbit person.
Good job, Bunny. You did it.
Good job, Gravity Kid.
Going
that
weird,
went
Bunny
well.
Being boiled a goo. Okay, so chapter 132 starts with everybody about to die, looking pretty fucked up.
And her freezing their faces in her mind.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. We watched all the pairings and all the people, and we watched Fuuko freeze every single person in her mind, which was pretty cool.
And she says, thank you.
Now it's time to go, she screams with this villainous
Oh,
face.
you're reading on mobile.
While
So you
everyone-
want to see one page at a time instead of two, huh?
Yeah.
Damn.
You know what? Be quiet and start doing the
Well,
next
then
page.
it's 2 pages, not 1 page at a time now. I'll do these
Okay,
next
well,
two.
I can turn it sideways and then I can do it. That's how I
Okay,
can
well,
do
you
it.
can turn it sideways, yeah.
Too late, already did it.
Okay. And so the unlucky girl journeyed off to the next world. Thanks to the people, well then, about time I get going too, who put everything on the line for her. The friends she met along the way. So this is Ragnarok. How would I describe the sight?
Despair. First of all, can we pay attention to how many different suns are coming at them now?
That's a lot of suns. That's too many suns.
So that we can look at that later.
You don't
Despair.
have that many of them.
Once you see it, you're left helpless to even oppose it. However, there was one person who met the despair unfazed. That person was Undead, the man who had already witnessed this 99 times before. He did not falter even for a second. If I'm ever allowed.
If someone as unknown as me is ever allowed to write another story, then it will be everyone! And we see the world being devoured as Luna sips tea. It will be
the story of how you all win. The earth explodes into the sun. Fuuko screams, "No!"
Juiz was always the same way. She would put on a brave face in front of her friends, but break down in tears when she came here. Humans are so awkward, aren't they? While you've been standing here, 100 million years have passed. Soon, the next loop shall commence. And Andy? He is alive.
Somewhere out there in space, as we speak, the freezing cold and lack of oxygen causing him agony all the while. But fear not, no matter how far away he may be, once the Earth is fully formed, any negator will be forcibly summoned back to the surface. That is a look I've not seen in your eyes before. This is where our counter attack begins. I'll scrape up everything that everyone left behind for me.
And in the next and final loop, all of us will face you, gods, and negate you. Brutal.
I'm looking forward to it. P.S.
Oh wait, it's your page. I forgot how we're doing this. You go.
As I said, if you and I meet again, I want you to tell me.
Tra-la-la, jump, oh jump. I wonder what this new series is going to be like. Maybe there'll be some cool characters. If there are, I'll draw some for Mom. What's that? It's a G-pen. The thing that manga artists use. Did someone drop it? Nope, sorry. Ugh. Afraid I can't let you touch that.
But to make up for it, I'll tell you an interesting little story. Who are you, lady? Me? Why, I'm a fan of your manga. Huh? But I've only ever shown it to my mom. You may not be able to believe it, but I'll tell you. I want you to tell me once more the story of us, and you, that is, of your story, the story of your...
Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited for this. So excited for this.
It's gonna be so good. It's gonna be so good.
We're pointing out that if she was a second late, she would have watched Akira vanish and just been like, well, fuck. Hey, buddy, I know you're there. No one can see you ever again. It's going to be really sad. If you find me, I'll just be talking to myself a lot. That's me talking to you. Cool.
I like that we see when it happens, and it's September 11th, 1972. Something about that I really like.
Okay.
No, it's just there's something about it I really like.
Okay.
It's the right date. I existed September 11th, 1972.
That's
I
cool.
was just inside of a uterus at the time.
No. Good to know. I was like, weren't you born in 73? Yeah, no, okay, I get what you're saying.
Sometimes I hang out in uteruses. I existed.
Undeniable. Are
Yeah.
we ready? Are we ready to do closing segments?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Welcome to 101.
Are we?
What does that mean?
I'm trying to remember all the things we do here.
Is the next
Number one.
101? Number one. Let's do favorite minor characters. We know we do that one. That's the one we know we do for sure.
Okay, well, in this one, the minor character was Akira.
We don't have a lot of minor characters, but yeah, it's Akira. That's the best minor character.
And
Yeah.
that is obviously the best minor character. And if anyone disagrees, then they weren't reading the same manga as me.
Yeah. Congratulations on your mental illness. Go see a doctor if Akira is not your favorite minor character here.
Hey, Lucy wasn't that minor.
Lucy wasn't minor enough to be a minor character. Sorry.
Okay, let's talk about our favorite characters in this realm and why number one is Fuuko.
Well,
again.
S tier is Fuuko. They're separate. They get their own.
I know.
story.
That's why we're pulling her out. So I think she's an S plus.
This is S plus. This is Fuuko. Fuuko at her best so far. Fuuko keeps getting better.
This is full Fuuko.
Fuuko's barely in this segment, and she's the best character.
And she's just so good.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. No, Fuuko, it's you. High five to your face. You rock.
Absolutely.
You just got your first S plus, Fuuko. I want you to clap your hands, everybody, and everybody clap your hands.
All right. So there we go. Fuuko's S plus.
Oh no, Dr. Jack is right. Are we using the same plug for YouTube?
No, but I don't know. Do you want to do a plug real quick?
Yeah, here goes. You ready?
Middle of top 5?
Hello, YouTube.
Yo.
You should subscribe. It's meaningful to us. Yeah. And press like. Then other people can see it. And I think that if you're a person who likes Undead Unluck and you would like to see more people like on Undead Unluck, then press subscribe, press like, and help to jump up the algorithm so that Undead Unluck and us get the attention of others who are also looking for this kind of content. We have a place. It is a Discord. We hang out and chat. People are doing crazy wild things all the time inside a Discord. Sometimes those crazy wild things are building Lego while other people hang out. And sometimes those crazy interesting things are having chit chats or watching videos with us.
Mm-hmm.
And so come join us in our Discord and consider becoming a Patreon. It's how we feed the Drawk and it's how we feed the editors.
True. All of that's real.
And we love our Patreons. We have the most awesomical Patreons in the entire world. Oh, go in and find me a Patreon to mention a name.
Okay.
Patreons do things, and you can send mail to Drawk and Mama Drawk, or just Mama Drawk, because
usually just Mama Drawk.
To P.O. Box 28078 Victoria, RPO.
Okay.
Westshore, BC, Canada. V9B6K8. I put that out there for you. The editors are going to stick it on the page anyways, and you're not going to hear anything I'm saying because Drawk is saying stuff at the same time. And so, meh.
I mean, they can just mute me. They have separate audio files.
I could turn it into a rap. Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
And then Drawk has a new place that you can go and listen to him talk about RPGs.
Here's the issue. I think we've said this one before, but I picked a random name, and you know what? Sometimes you say the same name again.
Aw, you know what?
Well, pick another one.
You know what? Can you pick 2?
Yeah, sure.
This is a special squishy. Oh, you have, and I freaking love this name.
It's a good name. I'm getting you another one.
This name is Chooch Mahoon, and tell me right now you just don't want to name your kid Chooch Mahoon now.
Thank you, Chooch Mahoon, for being such a great.
Oh my god! These people have the greatest names ever. Because this person's name is Taco Tuesday.
Thank you, Taco Tuesday.
So good, Taco Tuesday. I freaking love that. I have no words. And I want to have a little moment to say thank you to our peeps, our Dr. Jacks, our Red Potatoes, our Tattoo Luminous, all of our people who come inside of here and help to make these chats so awesome, keep people from saying crazy stuff, and just be really good friends who help out all the time in big ways. We are having so much fun at the Drawk show. We are so glad to have you here. And we look forward to having you all become part of our family. Yes, thank you, Roxanne. Do you know that Roxanne went all the way back to the beginning of all of our videos and said, y'all, this is nice on every damn video? I know I've said it before.
It bears and it's insane.
It still bears repeating. It's crazy. I just laughed my ass off when I went back. I was like, you must be straight out kidding me. I am convincing. Oh, and we start, me and my little side hustle crew. We're reading. Hey, these are my tiny panda squishies. Me and my tiny panda squishies are going to be reading Witch Hat Atelier together. We're going to be doing it inside of the Discord and having little conversations about it. And our first one is going to be on October 1st. We're just going to have a bit of a conversation up to, I think we decided 15 in the end was enough. Tuesday, October 1st. And we have a time on there. I do not remember the time. And so if you've always wanted to go and read Witch Hat Atelier, we're reading it ahead of Drawk because we're going to be doing Witch Hat Atelier with Drawk. And I wanted to have a thing. It's chapter 17 that Drawk had never read before. That I got to be the big fish.
The first
and
Witch Hat Atelier episode will be the last one we do in October.
Yeah, exactly. Because we figured we should do witchy things inside. Mama Drawk, would you like to see a GIF I made for the section of reading? Roxanne, hells yeah. And then I have decided that we are going to press up the agenda on when we do Berserk, because somebody sent me the first 3 books of Berserk, and so I think we should read it sooner than later.
Okay, we'll see what that looks like for sure. We're not doing Berserk on Halloween. I'm going to be gone for Halloween, honestly.
We're doing Witch Hat Atelier.
30th birthday.
Yeah. Oh, peace out, tube of you. Now we're into regular
segment. So Andy, is he on the chart or is he separate? Because if he's separate, I think he gets an S this week. Andy did great.
I would give Andy an S too.
Like, it's tempting to be like, should we grade him more harshly? But Andy did amazing.
Yeah. Okay. Roxanne sent me a thing. Let's look at it. Oh, I can't see things. It's not showing me. I'm giving him an S. I feel bad that I'm only giving him an S, but Andy shares a mind and a body with Victor, and I would give Victor an S+.
Well, I think Victor isn't on the chart. I think he's his own character. He gets to be in the regular one.
I think he should be number 1.
Ooh, let me think about this. Do I agree with Victor number 1 in this little part?
Do you want me to pop off, or do you want to just think?
Bunny does boil here is a thing. You have to consider that Bunny boils.
Come on. Everyone boils. An entire Earth shatters into the sun. Everyone is boiled.
All right. Tell me about Victor. Tell me why you think he's number 1.
Okay, so Victor had to completely change who he has been for the last few billion years.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
And he popped his mind around what it looked like, what love looked like. And I think the idea of love, since it's going to be so important in the ultimate defeat, is one of the most important things that you can get right in your head. And so I think that Victor literally just made the first step to actually being able to help the team win. and to see love in the way that he needed to, and that love had been corrupted for him from the billions of years he had to spend alone or on the outside and watching the person that he loved be hurt. And in this time, he got it right. He fixed it. And watching a person that he loved die and have to fail in the end, he actually understood what that looks like. And then he used all that rage to give one of the greatest attacks. He is the one that fortified. He is the one that helped put our girl in the chair. I think that he really did the biggest growth here. And I think that his part was, you know what though? Can we say a Victor's Juice #1 tie?
I was debating, are they connected enough this time that you think we get?
I really think they are, because they were separated, and I think the thing that we learned is it was in their coming together that we had to win.
I was debating whether or not to push for it, so I think if you are also feeling like it, let's go for it and say that Victor and Juice get to share the top spot.
Yeah, high five! Yeah. They just high fived each other in Deathland.
They did. That happened. I watched it. It was crazy. Number 2. Hear me out. This is a weird one. Kind of feeling Lucy number 2.
Oh my god. Okay, pop off about this.
When I think about the middle section of story here, the part before we get to final Ragnarok, Lucy feels so important for laying down a lot of the groundwork of the themes. She teaches Andy about the soul. She gives Andy a reason to be interacting with the story in the way he does. And just when I think of who feels most important to this segment of story, that's just who comes to mind after Victor and Juice for me.
You know what? I kind of love that.
Like, I can't give you better reasoning than that, but it feels like who's most relevant for the story being what it is.
Okay.
Lucy's on the list. Hell yeah, you did it. Kind of feeling a bunny 3 to 5. People are really excited for the bunny 3 to 5, huh?
People are really into bunny. Do you remember how upset we made the person who voices Fukuro feel about our bunny hatred?
Yeah, Jackie got really upset about Bunny. Who is
3
next, do you think? Yeah, 3.
Did you? It's interesting that you put her at 2. I would put number 3, and I shudder to say this, as Luna.
Luna. Oh, okay. I think that's fair. I like it.
Think about the interactions, the movement of the plot forward, the things we find out, the conversations about the emotions that Juice had, the coming in clutch. I think that Luna ends up being number 3.
Rippin' Lot 4.
I would agree. Rippin' Comp 4.
Yep. So who's number 5? Kind of feeling a bunny number 1. Come on.
Literally, Bunny did one thing.
Bennett was Boyle.
And that was Boyle, yeah.
Some opinions, some options. Ruin, Nico, man, Billy. I'm kind of feeling a Billy 5.
I was just about to say I'm kind of. There is Ichiko.
Oh, that's tough. That's tough. No, Nico's wife can be here without him.
Nico doesn't need to be with his wife. I'm really just about Ichiko and not so much about his wife.
Do we feel Billy or Ichiko more? Who are we feeling?
I feel, if I'm going to be honest with you, I would say an Ichiko is an honorable mention.
That's kind of how I'm feeling. She's like the close number 6, and I think it's Billy. I think Billy adds a lot in this part.
I loved Tatiana in this piece. I loved Apocalypse in this piece, but you gotta cut it off.
Previously, you liked Billy more than me in the spring section. I'm feeling Billy in this part. Billy started to.
I really liked Billy, and I think that he said, "You know what, Mama? Thank you for your support. I'm gonna do better," and he did.
Yeah. Billy was great in this section.
Yeah.
Number 1, my goat Fang. Hey, have you considered that Fang is strong?
Have you considered that? Have I mentioned that about Fang recently?
Yeah. Can we say as far as drip, the drip list? I hear me out. I think top drip.
No, don't say it.
I think it's most fair, and this sucks.
Don't say it.
If it's straight up the Sun Kings, and it's just Unruin and Seal.
Please, I was waiting for you to say that.
And
yet it is.
Sucks,
there's no way around it.
But it is.
There's no way.
It sucks, but it is.
It just is. The sun knows how to design. What are you gonna say?
Yeah. If people are saying bunny, no, top trip is not bunny.
Not snowsuit chick.
Oh man. Have you seen
what was the other thing that we always do in this one that was unique?
Was it to favorite moment? Was it? Yeah, it was favorite moment. It was favorite moment. So not best moment, but favorite. Mine is Akira showing up at the end. It's not the most hype. The most hype is right before it, but it hit me so deep.
The see-through Akira moment?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't blame you. That is such a good one.
Yeah, nothing affected me more deeply and personally. It hit so hard.
Okay, my favorite moment is that's a little harder than I thought. I thought it was going to be easy, and I was a dumb kid.
Okay. Far Zero. I know what you're saying, that in a battle manga, the character you want to fight the most is the one that should be your favorite. I disagree, but even if I was to use that metric, why would I be excited to see Fang fight? All he has is strong. There's so many cool powers in this series, and he's just a buff guy. I don't know, man.
I hate Fang.
He's
unpopular opinion, meh.
Fang is strong. He's so strong, guys. Have you thought about how he's really strong?
He's a meh. He's just going to be a meh for me. That's going to be meh.
So many people are talking about how hot they think he is and how cool martial arts are.
Are any of them cricket? Because that would make sense.
I'm shocked at this. I'm shocked at how many people are coming to bat for Fang.
I can't believe anyone is cheering for Fang. I've tried to think about another one besides the one that you said, which I honestly think is the obvious favorite moment.
Should I pick something else because that's too obvious? Because we want to pick a favorite, not best.
Yes, because I think that one is
too much.
What are you going to pick?
Okay, then allow me a moment to reconsider what I would do instead.
Okay, I've picked mine now.
Okay, I've picked mine. And it's Billy explaining his powers and ending it by saying, well, that would just be unfair.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah.
Mine
is so cool. Fucking so slick. Yeah.
Mine is Andy's hand touching Fuuko's when she's a ghost.
That's a really good one too. Old Man Andy's up there. That was my other choice.
Old Man Andy is so good, but no, mine is still
smug Billy of just that would just be unfair is such a good line. Did they give him a southern accent in the dub? I hope they did. He should have a southern accent. His name's Billy.
Your father's in the background burning sandwiches, I think.
They did? Fuck yeah! Oh no, wait, that was a response to someone else. Never mind. Oh, well, never mind. No southern accent.
No. Boo.
All right.
Sorry, Drawk. Hopes and dreams.
Any predictions right now? No. It's up in the air. Who the fuck knows at this point? We're in a crazy place. Cricket loves Billy. Cricket. This is some of the best taste Cricket's ever had to like Billy. So weird.
I have a hope.
Cricket.
I have a hope. It's not a prediction because I don't know if that's the direction they're going to take it.
Yeah.
But I have a hope.
All right. What's your hope?
I'm hoping that Fuuko is decided to just lean into her love for Andy.
Yeah, I hope they can be a little bit. That would be nice.
I'm hoping that since she has come into her own power and she's embracing and understood the idea that it is going to be through the love and the relationships and the reciprocal tightening of their group, which is a very Japanese concept I told you about tightening your friendship group, just having one friendship group and continuing to tighten it over the years. I'm hoping that includes just leaning into her love for Andy.
I am hoping we play with the idea that what rules exist in this new loop are different and unique, and we get to see the world be notably different in the same way we got to appreciate how weird and different the world was last time. And what's crazy is last time we were like 97 rules in, so the differences, like a lack of stars, weren't that extreme. So getting to see what the world is going to be like next time, this is going to be crazy.
I have a prediction that eventually, I don't know if it's going to be
67.
That we're going to find out that Andy's tattoos are actually caused through some kind of soul binding through a memory update, and that
memory card,
and that we're gonna have confirmation that we have two ways of this being seen through book and game.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to see the way in which we see the order that the rules came from, since we're back into 1977. I can't wait for the flashbacks of Andy and Fuuko in the world when it wasn't all populated, because those will come. Those are definitely a prediction that'll have to happen.
No, this time, remember, you wake up later and later. This time she was going to wake up in the 1800s.
Okay, but I can't wait to see them prior to 1977 and the order in which they do things. If she woke up in the 1800s, if he still has the same tattoo, that's going to tell us a lot, because it's going to have been 18 something in a different lifetime. Weird. So is there going to be a change to that?
I'm excited. All right, everybody. I think we're going to send you off now. And we're going to do Oak again because she's great and that's easy. Is that all? Do we have
We're reading 133 to 167.
35 chapters. Y'all find the exact limits to push us to, huh? I'm excited.
Yeah, they really do. Okay.
All right, everybody. I think we're sending you
all right, I love you so much.
Until next time, I've been unfiltered.
I've been unhinged.
There we go. And until next time,
squish on squishies.
It's been lovely talking to you. All right, we're sending y'all off.